am lost. And yet, I can feel him so close. So close. I can see him in my mind's eye. Kenobi!
If you don't get that reference, go watch Star Wars
right.
Rebels. That's our weekly plug for Star Wars
I
Rebels.
want to hear more of that. Can you keep going? Let's just do that for the whole.
Let's just,
Let's just
Mole.
Uncle and I just sit back. We're
Mole.
gonna take tonight off.
it is you. Mole.
Come on.
Hello there.
Hello there.
But Kanan, I have to find my parents. Ezra.
Kanan. Welcome back.
Hey, he stole my
Yeah.
intro.
Star Wars guys, take it over.
I'm just kidding. Do it. We just wing it. Welcome back to the Star Wars Guys podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening or if you're looking at us right now, you're watching with us live on YouTube. We want to thank all of you who have been tuning in week after week, who are following the book report of Boba Fett.
Yes.
The book
Hey,
of Boba Fett report.
Yeah. What do we? A plus? A
The book
Oh,
of
the book
Boba
report?
Fett.
A book report. Yeah.
Is that what we give our own
I don't
book
think the
report?
official grades are in yet.
Yeah, official grades
Right.
are still. They have to be
Yeah.
like, it's the end of the quarter.
Right. We gotta
That's what
wait.
they give. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those will be coming
Yeah.
out. But thank you for following our week-to-week discussions as we dive into the Book of Boba Fett. But now that the Book of Boba Fett is done for now, we don't know if
That's
it's season
right.
2 or not. But we are now transitioning to all things Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's right.
And before we get started, I want to thank all of you who have been following the podcast. Again, if you've been listening to it, or all of you subscribers on YouTube, we had a large growth in our YouTube channel this
Had a
week.
Yeah.
Nate threw out a viral boom.
Viral boom.
I'm just thankful you let us back on here because we can only ruin it now because you've done so good on your.
Wouldn't it be a great this should have been each time that Nate's video keeps growing, his chair just keeps getting closer and closer to the welcome back to Star Wars, and Uncle and I are in the background.
No, we just
We're
have the
waving,
camera.
we're
The camera just zooms in slightly, so you guys are just
He's got like
slightly
8
cut
buttons.
It's
out.
a little forced
He's
perspective.
got 8 buttons on the stream deck. They're all
all
Nate's
just-
face.
It swipes. It's just back. It's just the same screen every time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a big week.
Big
Yeah,
week.
big week.
Oh,
Big
we
week.
love talking Star Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi right around the corner. So why not dive in? We, as you saw in the thumbnail, predictions. We could throw out some crazy speculation. We
Whoa.
could throw out some things
I don't
that
think that'll happen.
might go off some of the stuff that's already confirmed, but dive in deeper to some of those things we're looking forward to. Just kind of roll with it and talk the Kenobi series coming up. So, I guess
Hello
I'll start
there.
off with the first question. What is
Coming
the
in
thing
hot,
you're looking
just
forward to
starting
of the things that are confirmed so far, which isn't a lot, but of the things that are confirmed, what are you looking forward to most about Kenobi show coming
Do you
up?
want to take this? Or
I got one.
Let's go straight to
Well, we watched in the teaser, the behind the scenes Disney Plus thing. I saw Hayden doing a lot of serious saber work.
Okay.
Gonna get some Vader.
The
some
rematch?
Serious Vader, but it's not gonna be like
And Kathy Kennedy
Maybe.
teased the rematch of the century.
Yeah, the
is
I
what
mean,
rematch
it
of
is.
the
so-
century.
that's top of the list.
And
Got to.
So that begs
that
the question.
concept art looked really cool too
I
of
know.
them fighting. So.
Begs the question, right? So we've got the Maul style fighting at the beginning with Qui-Gon and
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, and we
Yeah.
got the Vader Obi-Wan from Episode 4. Where is this gonna fall?
Because
True.
Because the theory is they were older in Episode 4 and it
yeah,
modified.
it was
Right.
it was of the time.
Although
it was,
Dooku was pretty spry, right? But
well, Christopher Lee doesn't age like
where's
the
this
rest of
gonna?
us.
Where's this? I'm wondering where this is gonna fit in because they're. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
How athletic, how
I'm with you. 'Cause
gymnastics is it gonna be?
we have seen because the only other Vader lightsaber fighting that we've seen outside of original trilogy is some Rogue One.
Rogue One.
We saw a little bit more. Again, not. I think that one of the things that should be stated, it's just part of Vader's
Yeah.
makeup, is his style is not the crazy flips and doing all that stuff. It
No.
never has been.
Right.
Anakin was more show-offy like that. Then he got his legs and arm
Yeah.
chopped off,
Yeah.
and he's
Learned
more
a lesson.
machine now than man, twisted and evil. And there'll be so many quotes tonight. So because of that, you would think he would lose some of his mobility. Kind of why he walks a little bit more like a terrifying like Frankenstein monster coming at you, or
Yeah.
like Michael Myers. It's like just a Halloween villain coming at
Yeah.
you. But he definitely had the just the physical prowess and like the unstoppable force style of fighting that came through in that Rogue One, where it's just like, I'm seeing red, I need to get there, but I'm
Right.
also going to be like cocky on my way there. Like,
Mhm.
could force grab one of you down there to try to do it, but like, you're not going to stop me. I'm just, whoop, whoop, oh,
Sure.
this guy's up here on the ceiling, I'm going to swipe behind and just
Yeah.
keep,
Yeah.
and then he just misses it.
Right.
Which again, arrogance is one of the ways of
That's
the
right.
dark side that always is the downfall.
Yep.
But this will be interesting, like you said, to see a newly turned. This would be the youngest Vader
Mhm.
fighting that we'll
Is
have
it-
ever
yeah.
seen.
Right.
Is it possible this is Vader in his prime? Like 10 years after, like we saw Hayden Christensen, Anakin was like everyone, even Obi-Wan and Rebels and Clone Wars is saying, you've passed me up so by like, you're so much,
Right.
more powerful, so much more skilled than I am. And that was before he became Vader. But then with this fight on Mustafar, he was still kind of like you said, his cockiness. He still thought he was so strong that he could just get away with jumping over him. Obviously,
Right.
Obi-Wan had the high ground, which is everyone knows is the most powerful thing in the
More powerful than the Force.
Exactly.
Is
It's
the
high
high
ground.
ground.
The high ground.
But
Unless
now
you're
that
Darth
it's been
Maul.
10 years later and he's just been, potentially diving into the dark side, is this going to be Vader in his prime? Like, will we see some more of that, or will it be kind of more OG, one hand style?
He still
I'm
might
too
be
strong.
one hand with the style. I don't
Yeah.
know. I was gonna say the one thing I loved that they did. Again, it's interesting where the timelines line up. Obviously, Rogue One is moments before A New Hope.
Yeah.
Like literally, getting the plans to Leia, and that continues on to A New Hope. But in Rebels, I love the way in Star Wars Rebels. Again, another plug, second plug for Rebels already early in the show.
Yeah.
The way that Kanan, and again, obviously Ahsoka has a different connection, and she ends up standing up to Vader and World Between Worlds, all the stuff that ends up happening.
Mhm.
Kanan is like, they feel the presence of Vader there, and they're like, run.
Right.
Just,
Run.
I'm a Jedi. I have no chance against Vader.
Even Ezra's like, I've never felt anything
Never
like
felt
this.
anything
I
like
felt,
that.
and he's like, would it feel like? And Ezra's like, cold.
Yeah, and even the way that they distinguish,
I love that.
like
Yeah.
they don't, like they're afraid of even Kanan is like they're afraid of the Inquisitors, but when the Inquisitors come, they can handle their business
Right.
and they
Mhm.
can. Vader, they're like, it's suicide. Don't even engage. We
Yeah.
feel him coming. Get out of there. And I do.
They don't even
love-
fully understand who Vader is.
No, they don't even
And they
understand,
just
but
feel
they
the
feel
presence,
just
and
the
they're like,
presence
this
of the
is-
dark side stronger than they've ever felt before. That he's like, we have to get out of here. So I am excited to see. Well, one, I think that the fact that they cast Hayden means we are going to get some flashbacks of him as Anakin. I don't
Right.
think that it's
I would
just going to
imagine.
be Hayden in the suit the whole time,
I think
because
so.
Vader doesn't fight with his helmet off very often,
No.
and when he does, it's pretty
Yeah.
scarred up and
That's
you know,
my theory. I think they introduced
think
the
we'll get
whole
some-
back to tank thing.
Yep.
So
you think it's
that-
another back to tank?
I think it's Vader's pod. We've already seen his pod where he gets the suit put on him and he's in this like healing. I think he'll be in his pod, and that will be when the flashbacks occur. Maybe.
Really?
I got a couple predictions.
Oh,
Oh, let's hear it. Wait, are these
Obi-Wan happens.
Obi-Wan-
Obi-Wan happens.
Obi-Wan to see it happen?
Obi-Wan to see it happen.
We wanna see it
I love
happen.
it. That's a lot longer than Boba Fett's, but
So here's the thing, right? So we have this.
Is this our Obi-Wan wagers?
Ooh.
Obi-Wan wagers?
Obi-Wan a bet?
Obi-Wan wagers?
I need to go get my
Obi-Wan.
Book of Boba bookie to
Book of
write down my
Boba bookie.
to write down
Is
my
that
bets.
legal? That's legal.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. What is a thought? What if what if something happened to Vader between the time we saw him in Rogue One and when we see him at the end of episode 4 in that battle with
Sure.
something happened before that. Like between the time he maybe meets Obi-Wan Kenobi and we see him in Rogue One, maybe something happened that diminished something about his mobility.
Mm.
What I'm saying is here that could put us in a place to explain why the interaction between Anakin and Obi-Wan can be very athletic,
Hmm.
but the interaction between the old Obi-Wan and Vader could be less so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there's something that could occur in their meeting because they neither of them die if they have a battle.
So
Right.
are you suggesting maybe Obi-Wan injures them more?
Yes.
Or is that interesting?
That's my
Yeah.
theory. Because
Huh.
here's what we know. So Vader is more machine than man.
Right.
He's
Twisted
taller
and
now.
evil.
He's
Right.
taller now
Yeah.
because of but
Mhm.
the legs that he has are not weaker. They're actually probably stronger.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just like his hand is
Yeah.
probably stronger.
Yeah.
So I think potentially something happens that explains why his mobility is less later. That's my first prediction.
That's a
Hmm.
good. Do you have
Their
another
battle.
one right off?
Second prediction.
Ooh, I
Ooh,
love
I
it.
love
I
it.
love it. Here we go.
I think we may see a tie-in with Boba Fett
Ooh,
in the Kenobi series with a Vader Boba Fett interaction.
like a
I like it.
like a younger Boba Fett of
Yeah.
that time, just
Yes.
doing on a job, hired by Vader.
Something Boba Fett's somehow involved with
Classic suit.
hunting Jedi, with Inquisitors.
And Chrysanthemum's on the job
Wow.
also.
Black Chrysanthemum's in there.
Cad Bane's.
That
no,
might be a
shit.
long shot, but maybe it's just wishful thinking.
I like it.
I like it.
But we've talked about
I
how
like
these are
it.
going to tie together, right? These are all going
Right.
to tie together. It's in
We've
the right-
seen it in the
it's
comics.
in the right time.
Boba
Could
working
be.
with Vader and Black Chrysanthemum going after Obi-Wan.
I'd say that's an Obi-Wan wild wager.
Obi-Wan crazy. Yeah.
No, I think
No,
that's
that's-
good. I think
yeah.
that's likely.
It'd be fun.
I'd be very.
Want to see
fun.
it happen? Yeah.
I
Wanna
think
see
it's.
it.
I think
Obi-Wan,
it's,
Obi want to see it.
Obi want to see it.
Obi want to
Obi
see
want
it.
to see it.
I agree. I think that's good. I think going off the flashback idea, I wonder if we will see Padme. If Natalie Portman is
Oh,
under
that would
wraps,
be.
Let me check Internet Movie Database real quick.
If there's any shot, if
'Cause
there's any
that's
shot that
incredibly
Natalie
accurate.
Portman is in this, and they've just been keeping it low key, and it's a flashback,
Wow.
but it's I don't know, it's I just feel like there's still more to Vader's, like, again, going off of kind of like Vader Immortal, which, you know,
Man.
not necessarily part of this storyline, but there's, to me, it never really made complete sense.
Whoa,
why-
whoa! Are you criticizing Star Wars?
Hang on
how
a second.
dare
This
you
is how we make the
criticize
big
Star
bucks
Wars.
off
Right.
this.
No, to me, it always
Simmer.
felt like the Emperor, in order to really keep Vader around, had to try to convince him, or maybe it's even Vader himself convincing himself that even though Padme's gone, there's a dark side power out there to still bring her back. Like there, and we saw some of that in Vader Immortal. So I feel like it's Vader still longing for. She's gone, but what can I do to bring back her essence, to bring her back? Like it's still like a possibility for him. Like I just need to become more powerful.
Mhm.
I just need to dive deeper into this to really become more powerful and get that. And that could be some of the trauma of like the flashbacks of like you could see of him wrestling with, I lost her, she's gone, it's all Obi-Wan's fault. That type of, I don't know.
Mhm.
Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back.
He's holding me back.
Sorry,
I'm
Master.
stronger than him, you know.
Sorry, Master. But at night I still dream of Padme. Anakin, I'm not even your master anymore.
Obi-Wan,
My name
the
is Vader.
council don't trust me.
The console is dead, Anakin. You killed the console. I have not given any thought to the possibility of Natalie Portman being in this, and that just got
I
me
hadn't either.
really excited. As far as not excited, like, oh, it's confirmed. Although that would give us a lot of clicks. Maybe I need to start
Ooh.
confirming stuff. I have a source.
Have a Charles Barkley, a guarantee.
Guarantee it.
Guarantee.
Yeah, immediately lose.
Guarantee.
Turns out tomorrow Natalie Portman
Natalie
retires from acting.
Right.
Yeah.
Never done another movie ever.
No, I
told
think that'd be
that
cool, and that's
knucklehead.
something I could see them. I mean, if they were able to keep Mark Hamill on low key for Mando, and no one
Why
found
not?
out about it,
Right.
they could
Hey, Natalie Portman's revisiting. I mean, she's going back to the Thor
going
franchise.
back to Thor. Yeah,
She
exactly.
hasn't been in that in essentially
Exactly.
a decade. One thing that was getting me excited about the potential there. Well, one, I think that I definitely think they could do it if she wanted to, and if it was part of the story, they could totally. One of the big things that's in some of the canon novels, the new canon novels, one of the books, Lords of the Sith, is a book that came out, and it's about
yeah.
Vader soon after after Order 66. He goes on some missions, and one
Yeah, I
book
know.
is about himself and the Emperor getting stranded in in the jungle or in the Force, I believe on Ryloth. And it's Cham Syndulla, Hera's dad, who is
Yeah.
the Free Ryloth
Mhm.
movement, and he's the head of Ryloth, and they are basically they're plotting they're hiding as like the forces are surrounding them and stuff, not the Force, but these military forces on Ryloth are surrounding them.
Sure.
And there's these multiple like campfire nighttime scenes, and so much of the book is just dialogue between Palpatine and
Oh, man.
Vader, and it's great because it talks about him being it's similar. This all connects. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Sorry.
The feelings of like when Kylo killed his father, didn't give him clarity, split him in two. They talk about split him to the core, and Snoke goes on about that, how it, and this is some of the feeling post Order 66 of Anakin of like, I did all that and I didn't even get Padme. And then there's an immediate regret, or like not even like full on regret, like I'm gonna go back to the light, but it's like, now I've done this. How do I live with this? I'm trying, but he's like wants to be all dark side, but he's fighting the light. And the Emperor has these like, it's almost like nighttime like meditation, sitting with his apprentice, where he's just speaking all of these like his truths of the dark side of like, this is why we do this. This is why, and it's all about like, think of all the things we can do and all this power, and just basically filling his ego and his like pride and all this stuff to just like dive in deeper to the dark side. In a scene like that, I'm not saying that Ian McDiarmid would be in this, but that would be incredible. But there could be some style of scene, whether it's Anakin's had the night terror stuff going back to Revenge of the Sith, of him like waking up in the middle of the night because of him being afraid of Padme dying in childbirth, and going all the way back to Mortis, the Mortis arc in Rebels. He has a vision of Padme talking to him, or like a vision of his mother, and all these things of like choices he's made or going to make. So I think that's in line with a lot of storytelling that they've done with Anakin in the past. And now it'd be interesting with Vader if they had anything of like just the sliver of light in the back, or this regret of Padme, or even like even thinking of like, what would Padme think of me now, or anything like that. And then he does what Ben tries to do, which is instead from Last Jedi or from Force Awakens all the way to Rise of Skywalker, before he ends up turning, he's just like, now I have to solidify that I'm all dark side. I have to kill as many people as possible, and like this'll prove
right.
And like, so Vader, and obviously Vader does this for a long time. He kills a lot of people. But I could see that moments after Order 66, moments after the turn, there being some Padme-related feelings.
I'm also just picturing, like, we talked about the rematch.
Yep.
I'm picturing, like, that encounter happening. And I don't know. I feel like at some point in this series, we will see Hayden Christensen as Vader with the helmet off. At some point. Just as a visual of a reminder of what Obi-Wan did to him. And if this kind of comes up in this rematch, I'm just visualizing like Hayden Christensen, Vader looking at Obi-Wan, like Obi-Wan, because we have the quote about Obi-Wan once thought as you did, in terms of that there was still light in him.
The Jedi. Yeah.
That there was still light in him. So if Obi-Wan's pursuing that and he feels that there's still light in him, and he's pursuing this, and they confront each other, and he's like, come back, like there's still good in you, right? I can sense it, I can feel it, and Vader's like, no, it's gone, I'm not, all this stuff. But Vader's showing his face and being like, you did this to me. Look at what I've become. This is because of you. Like that type of thing would hit hard, and that could be what Obi-Wan then goes back and kind of becomes what he does, and goes on to tell Luke, like, we got to take him out. Like that kind of, I don't know.
I know that quote is one of just like the pillars of a lot of people's thoughts as to why this was a good idea to even make this show.
Right.
Is that line from Return of the Jedi was never really fully explained. If Obi-Wan and Anakin if Obi-Wan and Vader had never seen each other since Mustafar, there wasn't a time when post-turning, really, essentially, other than in that you were the chosen one, and like yelling at him, or like up there just saying like, Chancellor Palpatine is evil. Well, from my point of view, the Jedi, like, he's not really saying there's good in you, Anakin. He's just more of like, I can't believe what you're doing. Yeah, it's not a lot. He even says
I'll do what I must. Then.
Yeah, it's not a lot of like, hey. It's not a lot of compassion trying to get him back to the light, as much as it is, obviously.
I'm in awe of what is happening.
I can't believe what's happened. I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you. Should have known the Jedi would take over.
Yeah.
But all of that to say, I think that is definitely something that'll be addressed as far as in their encounter, is some sort of, Obi-Wan, we'll dive into all this stuff of what we expect as far as the tone of the show or what it's going to be like, but this is a Obi-Wan, who's gone through a trauma
Yeah.
and is now sitting on the sands of Tatooine. I'm sure he's going to go plenty of places elsewhere, but he's watching Luke. This is like a 19-year watch
Right.
that he has to sit and think about not just what he might consider of like his failure as a trainer or how did this happen, but this is a lot bigger than just losing his his Padawan. The whole galaxy was overturned because of his Padawan. Like
And also because not only because of his Padawan, but also because he didn't actually finish the job in killing him.
Yeah,
too.
that's the other thing
like
too.
It's one thing of wrestling. Like
I want to see
had
him
to go
find
through
out.
it. Not only did I go through the act of basically killing him,
I made it worse.
I also didn't even do that. So I basically tried to do it, got the feeling of having to kill my Padawan, and failing. And now that he's lived on, everything's become billions of people are dead because he's going around blowing.
So
up planes.
I officially want to see it happen. I want to see Obi-Wan get the news of that Vader's alive.
Yeah.
Because like eventually he obviously finds out, but like when he leaves, he doesn't go back to Yoda or Bail Organa and be like,
You mean that Anakin's alive?
oh,
Right.
sorry, yeah, that
Anakin's
Anakin's alive,
Right,
That
yeah, I know
Anakin's
what you mean,
alive,
'cause
that
he's like
Anakin, that Vader, and
Vader.
that any of basically he
And-
thought he finished the job.
And
Thought I was over.
here's something for
It's
you.
like in
Right.
my defense, it was on fire and limbless.
Right.
I thought
I thought I was.
that was about it.
Say he finds that out,
Yeah.
that it is Anakin. He realizes that. What's he do then? Because I'm picturing him running off to Dagobah to talk to the only other person that knows
Mhm.
about
Ooh,
everything that
you
happened.
predicting some Yoda in this?
Right? I mean, it
Mhm.
makes sense. Why? I mean, I also think if they know where each other are at, you think they never ever went to check in, or like you think Yoda?
Who
was just
tells
like,
Luke
just gonna
where
go
Yoda is?
Mhm.
right?
Usually go to the Dagobah system.
Right? Exactly.
Mhm.
The
So, I
Jedi who instructed me. Well,
That's what I mean.
it
Kinda.
was kind of Qui-Gon first. but
Yeah, but yeah.
Right.
give Yoda the credit.
So I mean,
Unless-
do we see some of
Ooh,
that?
Unless
Unless
he
that
gets more
answers that
instruction.
question.
He gets more instruction from Yoda.
He could get more instruction from Yoda, but also, yeah, I mean, I just feel like that's another possibility. There's just so much they could do in this show, and you mentioned Qui-Gon too. That's a whole nother thing. That's that we haven't seen. is
Let me
the
ask you a
training.
question then about the. So I was reading. I was watching. Deborah Chow says that this begins. She actually says this begins with the handing over of Luke as a baby to Lar, right? To
Joel Edgerton.
Exactly.
from-
So-
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
he's back.
starts with She says it starts
Owen
with that.
Baru.
What is, and we always talk about the journey of the character. What is Obi-Wan? What does he need to achieve? What do we
right.
for his story arc? What is the important element? And
Right.
what's the big challenge, and what does he need to overcome in
Right.
this? What is it? It's only like 5 episodes, 5 chapters, right, or 6?
I think it's 6.
Six.
I think it's
I think
six.
And they may be longer.
I
we
believe
we don't know.
I've
Right?
heard rumors that at least the last episode is at least an hour.
Okay.
I don't know if they're all like that, but
So
heard the
what
last
is
one's about an hour.
6.
so
Oh,
he's
give me like 3
so he
hours
hands
each.
off the baby and he is watching. What is
Right.
he? What does he need to? What does he need to accomplish? What does he want to overcome? What does he need to change? How does he need to improve? Because we
Yeah.
know Mando
Yeah,
from robot to person to humanity.
Yeah. Boba has
Boba
his
Fett
rebirth
from
of his
Solo to
yeah,
family.
I think
What is Obi-Wan's deal?
I think I honestly just things that just quickly come to mind. I think there's a lot of directions this could go, and it may not just be one thing. One is the obvious, just protection.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some concept art of Inquisitors, and even Inquisitors that have been confirmed to be in the show. So if he knows of these things coming, it could be, I don't want Luke to even know these things are out there. I got to defeat this stuff before they even get to Tatooine, that type of thing. So we could see some of that protection. I also think the Qui-Gon like him wrestling with the fact that he's a child now, and I'm watching over him now. But at some point in time, it's inevitable that he will get to a point where he grows up and he will know who I really am. Like, I don't know if he ever really thought Luke will just remain Luke on this Tatooine and live a life without ever really becoming a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a part of him also realizing like I've got to get past my past and continue my training, whether it's with Qui-Gon, the Force Ghost stuff, and become stronger and be prepared as a master, that as opposed to himself thinking maybe he failed Anakin? How can I get to a point where I know I'm not going to, what can I learn from to that when Luke comes of age, I won't fail him? I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are a couple things. I don't know if that'll be like the main thing, but those are some areas I feel like they could touch on.
I do think a lot of it is going to be him having to wrestle. I think there's a lot of guilt right now that he's feeling for what happened.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be some deep self-reflection, wrestling of what could I possibly have done differently, even though I don't think it's right to blame Obi-Wan for what happened to Anakin. This was Palpatine.
Yeah,
and
right.
And then I think we all would have agreed that just Qui-Gon would have been better suited to train Anakin because he was much more of a father figure to him than a brother. It's just a different relationship, and he did his best, but he was young. He was young, and now it's just like something happens to parents of a household. Now the older brother's raising his younger brother.
Do the best they can.
Do the best he can, but just
and it's out of duty rather than love.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe for Obi-Wan,
mm-hmm.
it felt like duty rather than obligation. To keep this commitment rather than
devotion. At least at first, he
Yeah.
promised Qui-Gon, "I'll do it." So he's like, I will train the
Qui-Gon
boy."
was doing it because he loved Anakin. That's different.
He believed he was he believed.
Well,
in the
we know
prophecy.
that.
We know the Filoni talks about that.
Yeah.
That father connection. There was
Yeah.
it's deeper than Obi-Wan.
The duel
Right.
of they call it the duel of the fates.
Yeah,
And he's
duel
like,
of
this
fates.
duel is for the fate of.
In some
Anakin
ways, I wonder this too. Well, you guys have already laid the groundwork here because I think what you're describing.
Well, that's what we usually do.
It's perfect. I think what you're describing is a lot of room. If you're talking about introspection, that's a lot of room to look back on what happened, to see things that we maybe didn't see before. But I wonder if there's resentment there between. I wonder if Obi-Wan just kind of resented Anakin because of all the what could I have done if I wasn't latched to this arrogant, selfish at times.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that seeped through. We saw that in a little bit of his.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And not Obi-Wan, I think, is almost among the best in character. I think.
I think we would all agree
but
that
struggling moments like why am I doing this? Is a waste.
I think what makes Obi-Wan, there's so many things that make Obi-Wan one of my favorite Star Wars characters. One is that I think that we've said this before as far as Yoda is maybe the pinnacle of like who is just, and then Luke throughout his life of what we see later, but like who is just the most serious. They talk about, Yoda talks about that the Jedi must have the most focus, the most serious mind and stuff like. Who is all in on being a Jedi and who does it though not out of selfish reasons, but legitimately is trying to just do their best. Yoda does that throughout his life. Doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes. Yoda makes mistakes. Obi-Wan makes mistakes. He's not perfect. Obi-Wan has some arrogance that comes out sometimes. Certainly the way he fights. And trash talks.
So uncivilized.
Grievous and all that. Like he has some snark and some, but resiliency is definitely one of the things that defines him. Because when you look at who has been through more heartache than.
Oh man.
He lost Qui-Gon. He loses Anakin. He loses. I mean. Padme was a friend. Padme was a friend of his.
That's right.
Satine, and then all of the Jedi Order. And through all of that, he doesn't go, I'm just going to give it up. He goes, well, now I'm going to dedicate my life to the next one. I might not be the answer, but there is another, and now I'm going to wait.
True.
And now I'm going to help him because I am dedicated to. Even though we've made mistakes, he's like at the core, and this goes back to some of our previous episodes. At the core, he believes that the Jedi are there for a reason, and the Jedi inherently are good. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they're not too rigid, because they are too rigid sometimes. Doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. But at their core, they are trying to do good for the galaxy. They're trying to protect the light. They're trying to fight against the overcoming darkness. And that Obi-Wan is the epitome of that, as far as Yoda is too. But Yoda is almost like so detached from it that like he's at the top, and everyone is Yoda's student. Like everyone is Master Yoda. Where Obi-Wan has the brotherhood with Anakin, and I think that he gets emotional sometimes. He gets snarky sometimes. He does all this stuff. But I keep coming back to his talking with Luke in A New Hope in Old Ben's hut, and he's talking about he was a cunning warrior and a good friend.
Yeah.
And then it feels like now we'll know that he has actually seen him since then.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's like it feels like he detaches the difference between Anakin
Oh
and
yeah, it
and
seems like at
Vader.
that point he's come to terms with Anakin. Anakin,
The Anakin
was
that I
not
knew.
Vader. Anakin was Anakin. The Anakin I knew. It's kind of like Ahsoka. People would be surprised with how kind he was. Like,
But
he
yeah.
was not Vader. It
Right.
was-
But what is interesting is, like, I think what Uncle was getting at too, though, is we do know that however this series goes, we end up getting to Alec Guinness's Old Ben
Mhm.
Yeah.
in A New Hope, and that character is very much in a place where he's this old hermit, this old wizard out in the desert as
old
Baru and-
old
Uncle Owen.
wizard.
yeah, as Uncle
That wizard's
Owen
just
likes
crazy
to
old
refer
man.
to him, but he is. I was gonna say, but he does decide to not tell Luke everything. Like he very much is withholding the truth about, instead of being like, "Hey, this is a warning. This is what happened." It is very much
Yeah.
like, just don't tell him. And then eventually, when he finds out, he's like, "Well, from a certain point of view, I was not a complete liar to you your whole life."
That was not
Although in my defense, I knew you for like 24 hours. As
Right.
far as in person, I know he'll probably met him before.
Yeah, because he knows old Ben.
He knows Old Ben,
Yeah.
but he doesn't. I've always wondered too, how much does Luke know Old Ben? I wonder if he means Old Ben Kenobi. Like he knows of him, and he knows
They've got
young
some-
Luke. Like they've had some. They clearly, it's not like, "Hi, I'm Ben Kenobi." Like they've interacted.
It's almost
And
like
we know
it's
that
almost like
Uncle Owen is
stories.
like, it feels like one of those things where someone keeps trying to interject into the story, and
It's a tough
and
one.
Old Ben keeps being like, "Stop it! We don't want anything to do with you."
Yeah.
And then Luke probably gets himself in trouble or something happens, and who fights off the Marauders? Oh, Old Ben.
Right.
But then it's like, and then we'll leave it at this. And he knows who he
Yeah.
is. He knows that he's there, that he has helped Luke, but he doesn't know he's just on the planet to help Luke.
Right.
No.
There's just so much, I think.
There are
that,
there are certain elements we know between the prequels and the original trilogy. There are some things that George didn't really care about.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he doesn't think we're gonna care
no.
that
He
that
would be laughing at the fact we're
Owen
doing
that
a podcast
Owen
right
buys 3PO doesn't know who he is, and yet he met him. Like we don't.
now. I don't
we-
recall ever owning a droid.
We're okay
Right.
with that. Well,
Really? You
Owen
followed-
too,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
same thing
Yeah,
with
Obi-Wan too. Yeah.
same thing with
Obi-Wan doesn't
Obi-Wan and R2. Like how do
Yeah.
we not?
spend so much time together.
Is he
Right.
pretending? It doesn't look
Yeah.
like he's pretending.
Right.
There are a lot of elements. I mean, the one that always got me is we're gonna hide him as Luke Skywalker on Tatooine.
We won't change his name.
They're gonna have to figure that out. There's an element of that it's okay with Vader because Vader doesn't know they're alive, and they don't know Vader is alive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that element there,
There's
kind
Vader
of-
they wouldn't think Vader would be coming for him.
They wouldn't
or
be
because
thinking
they
about
would
him
know right
coming,
away.
Right.
Another thing I've heard people throw around, I
But
think
it's
could,
still you're
yeah.
hiding somebody.
Yeah.
They're gonna maybe address
been,
that.
That's always been the old kind of playground joke of like,
Right.
oh yeah, I'm gonna hide from Skywalker. Well, where should we go? Let's go to his home planet, and we'll keep the name Skywalker. Well,
Yeah.
that's gonna be kind of easy to find.
Right.
One thing that I think could help them, and they could get into this a little bit,
The Anakin hated sand, so he's not coming back there.
is that Anakin
Why would he?
is that Anakin's last trip to Tatooine was the death of his mom and the slaughter of the
Yeah.
Sand People, and that
Yep.
he now associates home with Anakin and not with Vader, and that if he wants to really be done with Anakin and not be tempted by the light, he will never go back to Tatooine to where Anakin was, because Anakin is that Jedi that I used to know that is not me. I don't identify with him at all
Yeah.
anymore. I am just Vader.
That's not my home planet.
That's not my home.
I've
that's
got no attachments there. Why would I go there?
Anakin.
Yeah.
I killed him.
Right.
So that would be a real, and again, could
Well,
still be a
and-
stretch, but they could get into some of that as far as like him having specific reasons. Not obviously if he knew that Luke was there,
Yeah.
I don't think that he would care if that's where Anakin was from. He would go get him, but maybe that's why he's like, I'm not even going there.
And that's true. And we always think about Star Wars as being connected, but He's a moisture farmer in the middle of nowhere. Literally on a desert planet in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere.
Right.
They also does.
Yeah.
Like,
And he knows Padme
It's
was
e-
killed. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that the kids are alive.
Right.
he doesn't know
It's
that.
also
The
hard
kids
to,
are alive.
it's
That's
easy.
another reveal I want to see.
I just don't
is
think
him
everybody
finding
even
out.
knows his name. Like,
Yeah.
It's easy to
I don't
forget that
know
this is
Luke
an
Skywalker.
entire
Nobody
planet.
knows who he is.
We've seen like 2 cities.
Right.
Like,
Nobody knows who
Mos
that
Eisley and Mos Espa, and that's it. Like, it's easy. Like,
as far as we
Luke being
know,
out
there is
it's
there
like
is
who-
no Facebook, there is no
And Shmi
TikTok. Luke's not making videos. They don't know. Nobody knows who he is. So,
and Shmi and Anakin were slaves. They weren't well-known people
Nameless,
amongst
basically.
the. I
Right.
mean, other than Anakin, won the pod race,
Right.
And Kitster,
kind of put him on the map.
Wizard Annie,
Yeah.
that did put on that.
Wizard Annie.
But
Vader comes back and wins a pod race.
Vader in the pod race. That would be hilarious. One thing I kind
man.
of want to transition to about just the whole show in general. I do think it's important to remember as we're looking forward to this. This is not Favreau and Filoni at
Yeah,
all. The
right.
show.
Right.
So I do think
Who's writing? Do you know?
I looked it up. I can't remember the guy. It's not Deborah Chow's directing the whole thing.
Everything.
Everything.
I kind of like that. Actually,
I do too,
Yeah.
actually, especially for something like
Yeah.
this.
Let's make it like a movie.
There are.
sure.
Connect it all.
I think that there are shows. I think Mando and Boba, Book of Boba, benefit from.
Diversions.
Yeah, it benefits
Sure.
from
Fair.
the people would make the
Sure.
joke, especially in Mando season 1, of like the
Frog
it
lady.
feeling almost like it almost feeling kind of video game esque of
Like
like, well, what's the mission
Yeah.
of the week? Where
Mission,
Mando would
mission,
go,
mission,
and then it
yeah.
all tied to a
Yeah.
bigger story, but.
Yeah.
He goes and he's with the villagers and he fights and helps
Right,
protect
right.
them from the walker, and then he goes here, and then it
Yeah.
ties in
They have a
later
general
and have all
connection,
that.
but it's not.
It had a
Right.
general through line, but it's here to here, and then the
Mhm.
so like even though it's a great character episode, it had all this
Yeah.
thing. The thing with Obi-Wan though, because it's a limited series, I don't think this is going on forever. This is very much we were even talking, especially with John Williams' involvement now.
Right.
This feels like Revenge of the Sith
Can't
Part
even-
2.
Can't even believe it.
You've
Yeah.
got Ewan back, you've got Hayden back, and you've got John Williams back.
I just.
But I was gonna say, so one thing I think the tone is gonna be very different. I don't think you're
Yeah.
gonna have nothing against it, because I really like the tone of Favreau and
Yeah.
Filoni shows. It is a specific style,
It
a specific tone. Favreau has a specific kind of slow burn storytelling, which I do think this could be some slow burn as well. But I don't see a ton of like maybe the mayor's majordomo character, like that type of
No.
kind of almost like a real world comedy humor about it.
Right.
That would just maybe feel out of place
So you
with
don't
the
think Jar
dark
Jar will
nature
be
of this.
walking in the background?
I'm not saying Jar Jar couldn't be a part of it, but I do think this is going to have this is going to feel like a consistent tone, a consistent vision throughout.
And no offense to Mando, Boba Fett. They feel like Star Wars, but they feel like something new.
Yeah,
I think this is going to feel more like coming
Yeah.
home
I do too.
I agree.
for us.
Which I should say, I
And-
like that these are different. I wouldn't
I
want
do
it
too.
all
Right.
to be like
No,
Mando,
we
all
need
to
that.
be
We
like
can't
this.
just
They have
make-
to be different.
Everything
I just-
can't happen on.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then
Yeah.
I just feel like they could pull. They could do anything. Like where this show lands in the timeline, the amount of characters that are around, alive, involved in all of this, Order 66, the possibilities for them to continue this story, but also make sense of all the stuff we've seen from Rebels and Clone Wars and all the other projects. Cal Kestis. I mean, they like everything is around this time period that they could
Well, think about what that's.
they could do anything.
Think about Deborah Chow. So we got Mando. First thing on Disney Plus, basically zero pressure. Nobody's
Yeah.
expecting anything.
Right.
Launching
Okay.
Disney Plus.
Boom, explodes. Boba Fett. We got a lot of expectations, but we
Mhm.
have no point of reference, basically, for
Right.
anything about this guy,
Yeah,
except
Right.
for the few things we
Right.
saw.
which is so rare because everyone's obsessed with him and knows nothing about him.
Nothing.
This is a
Obi-Wan
completely
Kenobi is the
different task.
arguably the heart
Yeah,
of the whole thing.
And then you throw in Vader, who is
The best villain
symbol
of all
Star
time, the
Wars.
best villain.
You think Star Wars, you
The
think Vader.
pressure on this episode, man. If you
Yeah.
thought the sequel trilogies had pressure, We're dealing with new characters. This is
People-
big pressure.
To that point, people forget because you'll hear some discourse and stuff online, and we've talked on here in our previous podcast about Boba Fett about a lot of the stuff that we liked, and then even some of the stuff that like, oh, some people had problems with this or this type of thing. We didn't even know we were getting a Boba Fett show. Like, there were rumors about it for a long time of like, oh, they would do something. And then all of a sudden they surprise at the end of Mando go, surprise, we actually already have in production Boba Fett, and it's the next thing coming out. And that was like just a free appetizer to all of us.
Right.
That like no matter what I was going to get, I was going to be excited that I got surprise Star Wars.
Right.
This is the exact opposite. This is from the moment when Revenge of the Sith ended, we thought that's the end. But we're like, oh, everyone knew that one of the bright, if not the brightest thing of the prequels, and we love the prequels here, but it has its just criticisms, I think, rightly so. I don't know anyone who criticized Ewan. I don't know anyone who criticized Obi-Wan and was like, Obi-Wan was the weak part of the prequels. I don't know if that person exists.
Yeah.
I think that most people, especially even early on, some people would even be flat out like, hate the prequels. Obi-Wan was great, though.
Obi-Wan was great. Right.
Or I like the prequels. Obi-Wan was great, though.
Right.
Or I love the prequels. And, man, Obi-Wan was...
That's
everyone
That's pretty much
loved Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And with the announcement, even go back a few years ago, it was when they started the A Star Wars Story movies. The initial... And this has been confirmed with some behind-the-scenes stuff, but they did Rogue One.
Yep.
And they were like... we've got lined up. And at the time, they were rumored that they would do a Boba one.
Right. I remember
and that they would do an Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Yeah.
And they even had some specific writers and directors attached to some of the projects. So they weren't like filmed or anything, but they were like, we're in the writing stage. We're going to make an announcement. I know that Ewan has even confirmed since then that there was even like a Star Wars Celebration weekend that he was invited to. He thought that weekend they were going to go out on stage and going to announce it.
Right.
And that weekend they pulled the plug because I think it was maybe Solo didn't make much money. And then they're like, sorry. And he's like, oh. He's just like, goes home. And it was the same thing happened with the Boba, with a Boba thing too. It was like they literally were about to go on stage and announce it. And then they're like, actually, hold off. So the Star Wars Story stuff was already in the works. So back even then, everyone was excited. And I was excited too of like, oh man, just imagine seeing Ewan McGregor back and that at the time felt impossible. We didn't even think large enough. They're like, oh, and Hayden would come back because we're like, well, Hayden's Vader now. He wouldn't come back. It doesn't make sense. We didn't think of flashbacks or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we were like, just Ewan coming back would be so cool. But now that Ewan is aged even more, and he actually is like perfectly in the right age to play that in between Alec Guinness and last time we saw Ewan. And it also doesn't hurt that he's literally one of the best actors on the planet. Like, this is not just some guy who's just known for Star Wars.
No.
Ewan McGregor is in so much. And he's doing stuff all the time. And they're getting him back to do a Disney Plus show. Sorry, John Boyega. Don't Disney Plus me, mate.
You can have your... I'm so glad they didn't make that movie now, the Obi-Wan movie.
I am so glad too. As much as I love the Star Wars movies, would I rather? It just comes down to would I rather get 2 hours of Obi-Wan or 6 hours?
Right.
I'd rather get 6 hours. Would I rather get think of how much we can get with. This is we talked about this. Uncle's been really pro of Star Wars transitioning to the shows a lot more right now. You've been even saying like one of the biggest things is the amount of character development you can do in a show.
Oh yeah.
You can't make Breaking Bad into a movie.
No way.
It doesn't make you just cannot. The tragedy doesn't make as much sense.
Well, they did Clone Wars as a movie. Remember? What did we get?
Yeah,
I was like, oh
exactly.
no.
And then there's a reason why they made it into a show.
They
It
do
was
7
fantastic.
seasons and it kills because you got time. Right?
If the character
6
of
and then 7,
if the character of Ahsoka is just left in that first movie, she's one of the most disliked Star Wars characters of all time.
Yeah.
And even an early Clone Wars show,
Now
with
she's one of my
snips and
favorite.
stuff. Now she's one of the
got
best.
time to see her.
It's
Right.
I thought of a term,
just
by the
love
way. If it's okay,
it depends on what it is.
because we
I can't give my
you'll
blessing
see.
until I hear
You'll
it.
see. Well, we thought it was interesting because we spent the first 10 minutes of the Obi-Wan predictions talking about everybody but Obi-Wan. I thought it hit me in that thing because we talked about. I started it off with Vader and the battle, and then we went to
Padme and
we went to Yoda. We went to maybe
Qui-Gon a little.
Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan wasn't even mentioned hardly.
Maybe threw Cal Kestis out there.
Kestis, right? So I think my first thought was to call it cameo craving syndrome, CCS. And that is the feeling that every show we gotta have a cameo. I'm a cameo craving. We'll call it CCS.
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 Is this different than your Favreau syndrome you came up with?
What was that? How many
Something
syndromes have I
about,
come up with?
about us minimizing what we thought Favreau could
Filoni.
do. Or Filoni. It was one of
Filoni
those,
was what we said for the syndrome.
It was
thing.
one of them of
Filoni.
like us underestimating that they would go there.
That might be.
And then
it.
we
Yeah.
remembered that McClunky means curtains and that Favreau can do anything. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
Cameo craving syndrome.
Yeah.
I thought of that as we were talking.
I definitely have that.
So I think we all have a hint of that because we're like, who's it going to be? How, when, how big's it going to be? When are they going to show up? Who do we get?
Now some of them are just like speculating as far as who's alive right now.
Right.
Not necessarily I actually think this will happen.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between like this is a possibility, but what do I actually think is going to happen? I mean, those are two different things. There's a lot of characters that they could easily throw in this timeline that are still around, but does that necessarily mean I think they'll be in it? No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
But
I think people are going to be mad. I do. I think they'll be like, if I don't see this.
And I've got a theory that I just came up with based on that. Predictions.
All right.
I don't expect that there will be as many cameos as the other shows. Here's what I mean, though. I do think if I had to make a bet, and Obi want to see it happen. We're still workshopping.
No, I think that's.
I think the Qui-Gon will be in it. I
Yeah.
think the Qui-Gon will be in it in some shape or form. I don't think it's going to be, and it could be wrong. I don't think it's going to be like tie in Cal Kestis, tie in this.
No.
I think the difference between those is that those other shows, Mando is the faceless, nameless character at the beginning. And although we build him up into this great new character, we have this yearning for these beloved Star Wars characters that we've fallen in love with to at least show up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
In Boba, even though we love Boba Fett, we're like, yeah, but what if this other character, Luke, who's even bigger, shows up? Or what if this, even if it's
Right.
small, it doesn't get any bigger than Obi-Wan and Anakin. I feel like the big guys are already confirmed and
Right.
there.
Right.
And not saying there won't be little things, but it won't be as, I think we'll be much more focused on, like if I get 6 hours straight of Obi-Wan in the desert dealing with what his
I got a vision.
just
Go ahead.
and
Yeah.
like dealing with the trauma of that and then like there's a young child Luke or those types
Sure.
of things. And obviously they've confirmed we're getting Inquisitors, so that's not really a surprise other than
Right.
just who will be playing them, maybe a surprise.
I think some of them
Um,
are already announced.
I think some of them might have
I
been
know at
announced.
least one.
Or
I
for
don't
the
know if you
Grand
guys-
Inquisitor.
Oh no, I know another one.
Who are you talking about? You're talking
I
about
won't say if you don't know.
oh, I know who you're talking
It
about.
was already announced.
I think
As an
Oh,
Inquisitor?
okay. Well, it's not a secret.
as one of the Inquisitors that's in this.
You mean as wielding a lightsaber as an Inquisitor?
Oh,
know one of
it
them
was-
said-
No, an Inquisitor that we all
it was
know. That
Patrick
that's-
Warburton.
Hey, yeah. Hey,
Hey,
Vader
yes.
told me that he's
Have you
There's,
seen
uh,
Ahsoka? I've been meaning to take my lightsaber back.
take my lightsaber back. Yeah. Are you Luke? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hot sun's a Tatooine burning twice as hot.
Right. You couldn't put two and two together. It's old bad.
It's old bad. You gotta love
Yeah,
that he's
right.
always like it's old bad.
It's all bad.
It's old bad.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I think my overall view on the show is that it's going to have a different tone than the other shows. I think it's a good thing.
Mhm.
I love the other shows. This should be different.
Yeah.
It is going to feel, I think, like coming home, like that. It's
I
going to.
think it's gonna feel
like
more
that.
Rogue One-ish, more Vader Castle.
But so because of that, I don't think it's going to feel like we're here and what's going to happen, and then we veer off here, and then we veer.
Yeah.
I do think that he's going to go places, but there's I think it's a specific story. There's going to be
He's
different
got
planets.
something.
Uncle,
Sorry.
share what
Sorry,
you got.
man. No, I think you're right. I was just imagining. So the scene. What's our favorite scene in episode 4? Best scene in episode 4.
Oh, Ponda Baba getting his hand chopped off.
What? Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
just- I wanted to give the only wrong answer.
I didn't say best scene ever.
Just give it the only absolute wrong answer. There aren't.
the death
I was trying to think. What's funny is I was trying to
You'll
think
be
of some,
dead.
I was trying to think of some random
worth the
moment
effort.
too.
That just popped right in my head.
It's
Yeah.
Luke standing on the ridge, twin suns, force theme.
It's
Yeah.
actually
Okay.
maybe my favorite moment in all of Star Wars. It's my
It's great.
favorite.
Can we see? Is it possible we see a 5-year-old Luke who goes to that same ridge, looking out, and now we got John Williams writing themes, and we see that. This is not the first time he ever did that.
Right.
He's always
That's where he
his
goes.
mind never on where he is.
That's
It's
the Yoda.
From a
That's
young
the-
age,
that's
he's
Yoda.
always longed
Same
of
spot,
always looking
same
beyond,
time,
looking at
and
the stars.
a
yeah.
young Luke, and
Yeah,
he's
folks.
out there enjoying
me
the
the
sun,
Baru.
the double sunset with the John Williams force theme.
And then
the
ready?
best.
He's 7 years old.
Ready? Star Wars fade.
Man.
Leia's doing the same thing on Alderaan.
Oh man!
I don't know.
And then we hear it.
She's looking at one sun. And she's
Somewhere
like,
out there, if love can see us through. It's Fievel and his
it's
sister.
Fievel. I love Fievel. I was
And they have
talking
the
about
twins,
American
they have
Tail
the cut in the
earlier
middle, and
today
they're
with
both
Abigail.
singing.
This is incredible that I was talking about American Tail and Fievel Goes West. I was talking about this just earlier today with Abigail, and now we've quoted it on
We've
the
somehow brought it
on
to.
the movie.
Did you see that
on the
that
podcast?
picture that was going around of like a young Princess Leia? You see that going around or no?
Why couldn't
No.
we?
Why
No.
couldn't we? I don't know.
I didn't.
I just saw it was going around. People were speculating that.
I did.
Is it possible we see
Could be.
a young Leia?
I think what I want. Do you know what my equivalent of the Wilhelm scream is? Scream. Wilhelm
I'm not
scream.
familiar.
Wilhelm scream, meaning if I could reuse this audio, I'd put
Yeah.
it in everything.
Yeah.
It's just look. I just want that. I want that like 5 times. That is my when Nate was predicting in Mando how many times we get this and how many
We
times
know it's
in
a
Boba
proven,
we'd get
it's
it.
a
Yeah, that's what I
psychological
want.
proven fact. When you're calling somebody, you have to do it in 3 versions.
Yeah.
You have to do the up, the down, and the straight. Mom, mom. It's always that. Mom,
I don't know why that
Mom,
immediately.
mom. Luke,
Mom, is that
Luke,
you?
Luke.
Why did that immediately
Back to
take
the
me
Future.
to Michael J. Fox as his
Mom?
daughter in Back to the Future 2?
Mom,
you? Mom, is that you?
Oh,
back out on the golf course again. How'd he do that? How'd he do? Oh, my back. Oh,
That's
gosh.
so great.
This has gone off the rails.
I definitely think we'll see
Glover
Leia.
floating, a non-Crispin Glover floating upside down because he wouldn't do. He refused to do. It was beneath him. He wouldn't do the movie.
I
It
think-
was.
Right?
He was,
Yeah.
It was a non-Crispin Glover.
He was
Yeah.
upset about the this is a tangent. He was upset about I've seen in recent years he was talking about he was upset about the ending of the first one that he thought it sent the wrong message.
Yep.
That the family ended up getting financial gain as a part of their and so he's like, I'm out, and they're like, well, then this double will make a
You're
lot
gonna
of
be
money.
floating upside down. We can trust me. It doesn't
we'll
matter.
find somebody
It's
else.
fine.
No. Yeah, wait till you find out what we actually had in store for you. You'd still be out.
By the way, everyone should subscribe to our Back to the Future cast that we just started. We're hoping
Right
that
now.
they will make more movies.
We're actually,
no,
we
I think
we
we'll
actually already did it. It's in the
That was
past.
it. Yeah.
That's
We're
right.
gonna go back to
Oh.
it. And,
Oh,
But if it's in the past, have we
you're
done
onto
it yet?
something.
oh,
And send it back to the.
back
I'm
to
not
the
sure.
future,
I definitely think we'll see a young Luke off in the distance at some point.
right?
For sure. How could you not? How could
How
that
much
not
time I
happen?
wonder is gonna pass? What do you guys think?
That's the question. Is I wonder if this is.
we
Will
gonna
this
just try
lead
that?
up to him being like white haired? Like they
Yeah,
could, like
yeah.
as far as how much time
I
would
don't know.
cover, or is this a specific?
Here's how they could do it, right? We could do it from
It's not the book of Obi-Wan.
right. We could. We don't. It doesn't have to be linear. It could actually start from a later time, and move us back to that first time, so that then we're not locked to a
Sure.
potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they done? Has anybody done that before? Another.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would fit with Deborah Chow's
Yeah.
style. I
I'm
don't know.
so
I don't know.
excited about Deborah Chow doing.
I know.
Oh, we were talking about her doing
yeah.
the whole thing. This feels.
Yeah.
This definitely feels like. So even though, different, even in Star Wars, going back to the original trilogy, different directors for different movies is a thing. What you normally don't want is different directors for the same movie. That's where you get
Right.
disconnected stories, and that's even some of the movies that we like. if you watch the trailer, as much as I love Rogue One, if you watch the trailer of Rogue One, over half the footage in the trailer doesn't even make the final cut of the movie because there was Gareth Edwards and there's change of director,
changes,
and
right.
and because of that, Ron Howard had to step in and completely redo Solo.
Yeah.
So you don't want a disconnected tone. You don't want something to feel like, oh, that feels like an abrupt change of tone in one movie. There can be
Right.
lighthearted moments or lighthearted, but you don't want to feel like, which is why I think what I'm getting at is Boba and Mando, where they have this style of storytelling, which I like, which is we can go off here because their story is completely, we don't know where Boba ends up. We don't know where Mando ends up. We know where Obi-Wan ends up.
That's right. We got a gap.
So we
don't
have a gap. This
open-ended story.
Yeah, it's not just he can go anywhere. He can die at any moment. We know he's not going to die in this show unless all of a sudden they reshoot him as the Alec Guinness fight scene or something like that. He's not going to die in the show. But because of that, it also has to. I think directing Star Wars and writing Star Wars is difficult. Like it's a lot of people that are like,
especially
oh, I
'cause
could
you
always
jump-
write that.
you
You
jump
have to
from
fit into the
timelines so
box. You
much.
have to fit
Yeah.
into. And you also have to do stuff that you think is consistent with the character while also presenting them new challenges that push them forward and help
You have
them
to
grow.
care very greatly what people think and not care at all.
Because you have to just do your. It's
You
the
have thick skin. It's man. I think
yeah.
as we go on, there are going to be fewer and fewer people willing to step up. Go. I don't think so. I don't want to
It's
risk
hard.
it.
It's hard.
Right.
First, when
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams was like, I don't think I want to do it. I totally get that now.
Right.
I would think
It's-
you'd want to jump at it. No, I think there's a hesitant that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough.
Especially when you hear guys, and again, obviously, I'm seeing I am a fan of The Last Jedi, but when you hear Ryan Johnson,
Yeah.
Johnson's like, listen, I approached this first. Dave Filoni. I was watching an interview with Dave Filoni. So
Yeah.
I'll veer off The Last Jedi for anyone who doesn't want to hear about The Last Jedi.
Abigail, welcome to the stream.
I do.
Oh,
I wanna hear about The
Abigail.
Last Jedi.
Well, then let's talk about The Last Jedi. Ryan
Abigail
Johnson
wants to hear
says
about
in that
this.
Director and the Jedi documentary that I love. It's one of my favorite documentaries I've ever watched, is him talking and going through the making behind the scenes of The Last Jedi. But he was talking about, and we've discussed this before, that when he's writing characters, when he's writing for them, he immediately sees where are they, what are the challenges that they need to face that would challenge them.
Yeah.
It's not always just what would be the coolest action scene or what would be the cool. Those are parts of Star Wars. Like Star Wars is going to have cool moments. It's going to have kind of the weird, grotesque monster moments. That's always been a part of Star Wars. There's going to be some goofy stuff.
Sure.
But at the heart of it, he was like, but at the end of the day, I am a fan of this. I am the only reason I'm here directing Star Wars is because I love Star Wars growing up. And of course, we've all had childhood moments of like, I wonder what would happen here. I wonder what happened here. But when it's actually me who is now signed on the dotted line to do it, there's a great responsibility to not just do what I think everyone wants to see, but what I think is best for the story and what's best for the characters. And I think that in the end, I as a fan, he tied it back. And Dave Filoni said some more recently too about him writing Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff like that. Is that at the end of the day,
he took risks.
He said, I do think that I'm as much a fan. I'm so much of a fan that I am sensitive to stuff that I think that me as a fan, if I saw this, it would be a big turnoff for me. So I do try to avoid that stuff because I think if I as a fan wouldn't have enjoyed this, I wouldn't do it.
I want to make it.
Right.
But also, I don't do stuff just because, I think this is fans just think this is cool. It has to serve the characters. It has to serve the story. And that the hard, fine line is you want to do something that you think is I would enjoy because it surprised me. But it surprised me and is consistent.
That would be hard.
It's both surprising but consistent to the story.
Yeah.
And where people miss the mark sometimes is either it's consistent to the story but not surprising at all, which is like maybe some of the criticism of The Force Awakens was that some people were like, it felt very familiar, which we loved, but maybe too familiar.
A little bit.
And then it kind of swung maybe the other side where some people were like, well, I heard the criticism a lot of people who don't like The Last Jedi, of people saying it was a great movie. It didn't feel like a great Star Wars movie to me because it felt so different. I would disagree with that, but that's what some people said.
Yeah.
And so it's always the fine line of how do you push it forward while being consistent to the things that came.
And throw in the fact that people have unbelievable expectations.
Right.
Unreal expectations.
I just wish, so I think it should be required viewing for anyone who doesn't like The Last Jedi. Director and the Jedi is required viewing. Like, just
for
make
sure.
a decision after you, because
I agree.
you can't
for
deny
sure.
it. You can't deny the people at the heart of Star Wars. They're Ryan Johnson fans.
Also, how does
Keepers of the Flame. They are Ryan Johnson fans. So
how does that
hard to
documentary start
deny
off
that. Yeah.
with Kathy Kennedy pulling Ryan Johnson on stage
Right.
saying, I have been doing this for a long time. I have never had the experience I've ever had in making a movie that as I've had with this guy and then
Yeah.
Ram, his producing
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
He said, we are so lucky to have these guys. And so for any of you that
crazy.
are like, oh, Ryan Johnson ruined Star Wars and doesn't know what he's talking about,
Mm-mm.
he also, in that documentary, they didn't show it. They showed him talking about it. He had a meeting with George Lucas.
Yeah.
Because they said, George wants to talk to you. And he's like, what? And they're like, George Lucas wants to talk to you. And, are you available? And he like makes a joke of like, yeah,
I think.
guess so. And then he turns the camera. He's like, this is wild. Like, it just, the fact George Lucas. So anyone just thinks that he
crazy.
just went rogue and like, just do
Right.
your own thing. Yeah.
I
I got nothing for you.
I love
nothing
hearing,
for you.
Laying down the law.
I love hearing the conspiracies that like, yeah, he hates Star Wars, so he intentionally just. I'm like, what in the world? No one's gonna do that.
I
No.
give zero weight to anyone who says that. I think that's great though. If you want to,
Yeah,
you criticize all you want, but don't criticize before you've seen all the material that's out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Let it be an informed hatred.
Yes.
That's okay.
If you've seen
Yeah, that's
all
okay.
of the evidence,
Yeah.
you've seen all of it, and then you come to
Sure.
the conclusion that yes, even seeing this and seeing his behind the scenes conversations he had with Mark Hamill, talking about the difficulties, this is going to be challenging because this is
yeah,
Luke is going in a direction that might be hard for
Right.
Mark to swallow at the time. And Mark Hamill in the documentary says, listen, at first it was very difficult for me because feels different than where I last left the character.
yeah.
But the character grows and also this is not my story. This is, he's like, I don't own Luke. He said, I played
Yeah.
Luke and
Right.
it means a lot to me. But Ryan has a very specific vision. And in the documentary, he says, and by the end, I was completely on board with his vision.
Yeah.
But then what people take, obviously, on Twitter
Is
and
the
stuff is
snippets
that
where he says,
Mark
yeah.
Hamill hated The Last Jedi, and he always like.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill said that it challenged him,
Mhm.
which I think the movie.
Yeah.
We're going on a big tangent here for Obi-Wan, but we
Wait,
talked about this
Obi-Wan.
before.
Are we talking about Obi-Wan? Oh, never mind.
I don't know. Last thing on Last Jedi, my feelings coming out of the movie. I remember it maybe more vividly than even when I first saw Rise of Skywalker. Even though I really enjoyed Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Right coming out of the movie, my first thoughts were in that whole night. I remember because I texted Matt, who had not seen it yet, and he was seeing it the next day. And Matt said, "Don't tell me anything. I'll talk to you about tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay." And then we talked about it, and I was like, "Huh." I really liked it, but there's like I'm really wrestling with it. Like there was a lot that
I remember feeling the
it
same
felt
way.
not like because it was just so different. It was like I feel like it was beautiful, but part of me is really sad. I just watched Luke Skywalker die, and it was like,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And when you think of what are the alternatives, would I rather have seen? Because this is a fair criticism. If you're like, it's hard, I wouldn't have wanted Luke to go out like that. How would you want Luke to go out? To die in a lightsaber battle? To see your best hero just be bested by like Ben? I wouldn't
Can't
want
do
to see that. That's not how I want to see going out with peace and purpose and be the ultimate, flame to spark to
Sure.
light the flame of, that'll help
Yeah.
and stuff. Is what
This
I would
feels
like
like an
to do.
episode to me.
Yeah. What am I
We
talking
need to
about again?
revisit
The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
do
do
it.
that. We'll do that.
Let's do that. So are we done with this Obi-Wan business or what? I don't know. And we're back.
I think we're just
No.
getting started.
Yeah, but let's
I got-
we'll do an upcoming Last
will.
Jedi.
I would
love that.
Revisit.
I got one for
We'll all
you.
sit down and watch it first, and then we'll do
That's
it.
Let's
Good.
watch
Have
it.
it fresh.
Yeah.
The Kenobi poster.
Obi-Wan. That's what we're talking about.
The Kenobi poster.
Wait, who's
I
this?
saw some people
Okay.
breaking it down, and if you zoom in on Kenobi, he's in the poster. He's actually carrying Anakin. Well, what looks like
Looks
I
like
guess it's
Anakin's
not
lightsaber.
confirmed. Doesn't look like his own, and it looks like Anakin's lightsaber.
What? That one right there. That poster on the
on
screen
the
right
thumbnail. On the thumbnail.
here? Wow.
So it just made me think. One, where's he going? Like, where's he going? What's he doing with it? Because I mean, from what we know, from what we've seen, is he picks it up on Mustafar.
Well, yeah, he's gonna
So
put it in
he's
a
got
box
it.
in
Yeah,
his
it's no-
house.
Well, he knows he
no
gives it to
surprise
Luke
he
eventually.
has it.
Yeah.
And then we see it. What we just figured, I guess, was that he probably just stored it away in the box until we see him give it to Luke.
Well, yeah, he picks up on Mustafar. He's walking away, and he goes, "Hey, Joe, come on,
But now he's
to my
walking.
son when he's old enough."
But now he's walking the Dune Sea.
There was a subtitle on that. I missed it.
Give it to my son while he's old enough.
That was it. and then you can see Obi-Wan literally go, "Oh my gosh, it smells like something's burning." Oh. He literally makes the face like something smells horrible.
He walks
Sorry.
away and goes, "He's got to be
I
dead.
can't even watch.
He's got."
I will for a second though,
Second.
and then I'm gonna turn around and leave because
Do you think that's why he left? Was just the stench?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that why he couldn't finish the job?
I think it's worse than if you ran over a dog on that road and it's whimpering, you just get out and finish it, right?
Yeah.
No, what you do is
what
you get
do
out of the
just
dog.
walk
you,
and go, "Oh, I'm
no,
leaving."
You
You just suffer.
Even worse, you run over the dog. The dog is sitting there screaming, and you go, "This was your fault, dog." And you have the ability. You have a weapon in your hand to put this poor dog
And
out
then
of
you
its misery.
go over and pick up his bone right in front of him.
Pick up
Take
his
it.
bone. His
I'll give this to
lightsaber.
somebody else.
the dog's bone. He won't be needing this.
Then that's what happens. I hate you. Makes total sense.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I
man,
love it.
that's so
Running guy
great.
says what?
No, it just made me
Oh.
think,
Oh,
where's
man.
he going? I don't know. What's he doing with it? Where's he going? Is it possible we see or Obi-Wan using both sabers at any point?
Wow.
I don't think so.
I don't know
Maybe.
if he'll be using a saber much on Tatooine because he's hiding.
Yeah.
I do
Unless some
think
people show up, though.
Inquisitors are going to show up. I don't know if they'll get to him on Tatooine or if it'll be elsewhere. You would
Yeah.
think that if they get to him on Tatooine, then they will know. If any of them make it back alive and report to Vader, at the very least, Obi-Wan Kenobi's on Tatooine, which
True.
would then be like, oh well,
I don't think they make it
I
back.
gotta go fight.
Is that like hiding in plain sight? Like he wouldn't go there.
Could be.
Surely he wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
I want to see.
I don't know.
I want to see Obi-Wan's hut. Let's go inside the Obi-Wan hut.
Yeah.
And
Revisit that.
let's see him just cooking some womp rat or something. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe a
Obi-Wan's got his own blue milk.
maybe like a teenage Pelly. Is no,
Oh, just walking in the background?
Just in the background.
We've seen that
No.
before. No.
Give me
I
some
don't-
Watto.
Some Watto.
Some
Give me
Watto.
some Grogu.
Is this the cameo? Grogu?
CCS, let it go.
CCS.
You need to
Let
have
it
an
go.
800 number for
CCS. All right,
CCS
yeah,
Let's just
hotline.
rattle off
The
all
more
the
you know.
1-800 CCS help is on the way.
Jar Jar, Yoda, Black Chrysanthemum, Padme. These are just rattle them all off,
Those are
get them
none.
over with.
Man.
No,
I think I not that I would predict it. I think Padme is realistic enough that could happen.
I think that's realistic.
Because I think it always
It
has
serves
to
a
tie
purpose.
into what is the purpose for.
Yeah.
Especially with the way they're kind of marketing this right now, it really does feel like it's the Obi-Wan show, but there are two main characters.
It does feel like
Right.
It
that.
doesn't feel like Hayden's a cameo. Like they announced
Mm-mm.
on the Disney
Right.
investors call. By the way, we're not hiding
Yeah.
this. Hayden is back.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
since then, there's been some quotes. Ewan McGregor had some quotes this.
I know you're
like
going
this
with
past
this.
week of like, it was great, and it was he. I don't have the exact quote, but he said something about like, oh, it was really great. The best part was getting to act Obi-Wan and Anakin
Getting to act or do scenes together as
as Obi-Wan and Anakin.
yeah.
It didn't say Vader.
Didn't say Vader.
Is
So
it
you're
Vader?
like flashbacks. We gotta
Yeah.
get
For
some-
sure.
That's
which would just be so
actually-
seeing Hayden back in like the longer hair,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan in his
Seeing
Seeing that
Revenge
quote
of
is
Sith
actually what
robes
made
and
me
stuff.
think of Padme being a possibility. Because if we do have flashbacks to that Clone Wars era, it could even be Obi-Wan just thinking back of the good times, like trying to remember like part of his part of
Dex's
his
diner, the good time. You
Dex-
want a cup of Java juice?
no, but trying to remember Anakin for Anakin and who he really was,
Right.
and him
Yeah.
trying to grow to the point where he's making the distinction between Anakin and Vader and that they're two separate people, and trying to get his mindset to wrap around that fact could be him thinking about these are the was this all just a waste of time, or was there some good still that came out of it, and him
Well,
remembering those
Talking
moments?
about cameos, and can we have an Obi-Wan Anakin flashback without Ahsoka popping in there? I
Right.
mean,
If so-
or even not flashback.
Oh,
Ahsoka,
just to
Ahsoka
have
could
him.
easily be.
Ahsoka could be there
Do you
now.
know why I think it might not? The only reason I think why it might not is because Deborah Chow is directing every episode. And if Filoni was directing an episode, I'd say book
That's
it,
true.
Should be in there.
book it, Ahsoka, But I don't know if Dave will ever let anyone
No.
else direct
I agree.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka's not in it.
I don't
just
think
because
so.
of that.
And
And Ahsoka has her own show. If they start
True.
throwing Ahsoka in everything, they go
That's
from
true,
no
but do you
live
think
action Ahsoka to just
is
everything.
Filoni's not going to direct all of Ahsoka show. So someone else.
No,
is
I think
touching
he's right.
Ahsoka.
somebody's got. Yeah.
I think he's writing the Ahsoka show.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's gonna feel. You know what we haven't had for a long time is a strong, Force character driven storyline. We haven't had that. We've had.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in and around it, but that
Yeah.
storyline hasn't. I mean, live action
Yeah.
of the ones we've had so far.
Sure.
So, I think that's going to
Do
be a
you-
big part of it.
Going off that,
Less sabers though,
yeah.
because of the.
you're trying to hide. It's
Can't.
the Kanan
That's
Jarrus
true.
of
That's
suppress the
We're gonna have a
powers
lot
and
of-
stuff because you don't want to.
So, oh yeah.
Wow, that
Oh
going
yeah.
on.
Going off of that, do you think we'll see more deeper aspects of the Force? Like we mentioned Qui-Gon possibly being in this because that
Communing
just
with him.
it makes sense with him learning that ability.
Qui-Gon, I think, is going to be the connection with the flashbacks. I think that's going to be the connector that
Do you
brings
think that's
him
part of the
back.
training that Qui-Gon's giving?
I'll bet
Obi-Wan,
you
or-
it is.
Oh yeah. I just think
That's
that what
part
they
of it?
set up
I'll
with
bet
Revenge of the
ya.
Sith is literally what is Obi-Wan's next training is. He says
Learn to communicate with Qui-Gon.
You will.
Qui-Gon. Like they literally, it's not even a stretch.
Right.
What they set up is that
That's
part of your next
part of it.
training
Obviously
is you're going to
learns it.
commune
He
with.
and Yoda both obviously
You're
learn
going to
it.
commune with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Learn it that ability at some point
Right.
to become Force Ghost.
I love that Qui-Gon cracked the code to that. Like that they're like
Oh yeah.
Right.
he was kind of neglected by the order and all this
that's a great-
stuff, and
It's a
then
good thing for him to have.
it's Qui-Gon who
yeah.
they later have to come back and like, oh yeah, remember how Qui-Gon was awesome? Like,
Right.
Really,
Right.
really didn't give him his due. And Qui-Gon had a little bit of some cowboy in him, a little
Right.
bit of
Did Qui-Gon-
rogueness to him, but
Did Qui-Gon truly accomplish what Anakin was setting out to do? Never
immortality.
die.
Never die.
Immortality.
Mm,
Because I feel like he did.
pretty much.
The question is, I gotta get back to those High Republic books. Did
I
none
know.
of them achieve that at all? Like, was it something that was
Right.
achieved back then and then lost? Of like, it's
Oh,
like you
man.
lost
Maybe.
like
Maybe.
then down the road because like
Nobody ever
Ancient
got
Jedi
that.
text.
yeah, was it literally because this makes Qui-Gon as much as I love Qui-Gon already, this makes him rise
him
up
up.
the all-time Jedi ranks. If we've had thousands of generations of Jedi,
And one of them
And
figures out how to talk to you from
Qui-Gon?
the dead. That's kind of a big deal.
And not only that, but actually physically appear in front of you.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon's the one who figured it out.
Emperor couldn't do it.
Who wasn't even on the council.
He got thrown down that shaft. Remember?
Right.
That was it.
Well, and he let out some green,
The green gas.
And then
gas.
Luke learns it to a
I think
point
it
where
was
he
the
can
rolls.
actually
He had
physically
for
catch
dinner.
the saber.
Right.
So Luke actually then can physically catch and raise the X-wing.
Oh, and
So they're
old Ben
better.
can
They-
sit
yeah.
on a log. That was big in Return
That's
of the
true.
Jedi. When that was
Sit
the
on a
first
log.
ever. That was the first ever evidence of a Force ghost. This is true. It was the first
Yeah.
evidence of a Force ghost communing with the natural
Sitting
world.
on a log.
Sitting on a log,
Telling him to
Right.
murder his father
Which
or else
was-
the world would end. You must murder your father.
But we know
We leave that
Yoda-
part out. He
Right.
sat on the log and then
In Clone
the
Wars,
Ewoks cheered.
in Clone Wars, we see Yoda going down that path of pursuit. That's kind of where Yoda on Dagobah takes those missions to Dagobah to pursue that sort of learning about trying to, because the Force is so strong, the presence is so strong on Dagobah, where he goes to learn about that sort of thing that Qui-Gon was able to do with the
Don't we
Force
have
ghost
to
stuff.
have? We have to have Obi-Wan with sometime with Yoda because he says he was trained
he
me. That
says
would
he-
seem like
yeah.
the one we'd want to.
Yeah, I
Kinda-
wonder if it's
kinda
just is
work
that
that
he
in.
Yeah, I
he
don't.
trained him. We don't really get to see any. 'cause he's the
Technically,
master
Yoda,
now.
you could say trained everybody. If
Yoda
he
would
was
be
training
the-
Padawans.
Yoda would have to be the one
Or
that would
younglings.
teach Obi-Wan how to commune with Qui-Gon.
right?
That's the
Oh.
only way it would work.
I think.
And
I
they,
think he. Doesn't he? Does he tell him that? Is that the phrasing in Return of the Jedi? Like, learn to commune with him.
You
I
will.
You will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I'll
will.
have
I
to
wonder
look.
if it's.
You will
I'll,
maybe.
I'll bet you that's what he does with. That's the training that he refers to
Yeah.
from Yoda. That he learns to commune with Qui-Gon.
I could see that. You know, they confirmed Jimmy Smits is back
Really?
as Bail Organa.
All
this
right.
week.
Well, then why couldn't we see Baby
Oh,
Leia?
well, definitely, yeah. There we go.
That makes
Maybe that's
sense,
why
or
that. Maybe
that
that's
makes
why that
sense.
picture was going.
They're
around.
gonna go Bale at
How could you not?
the only
Okay,
connection
we talked
to
about this
Only
cameo
point.
thing, and now I
'Cause
feel
this
like
is
we're
not-
just everybody's gonna be in it.
Everybody's
well,
in it.
because this is not Star Wars Rebels as far like this is not about the Rebel Alliance. This is about
No.
Obi-Wan. So
Right.
throwing Bale in there means you would think
Or-
that it's
Obi-Wan.
a young
Or
Leia.
is Obi-Wan Kenobi the title? Is this about Luke, Leia, Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because he's at the center of all of these
Sure.
things.
You mean it's the Book of Obi-Wan?
The book
He is the piece that ties them all together, though.
Right.
He is the main thing.
Exactly.
Even Yoda to Obi-Wan.
I
Even Ahsoka.
wonder.
And he knows about Leia. He knows where she's going. He knows. He
Yeah.
knows. He's the only one that knows.
He's the only one that knows. Yeah.
Well, except for
It could be
Yoda. Yoda
you know
would
what
know.
this could be?
Yeah.
It could just be the fact that the Inquisitors are out there looking for these two. That Obi-Wan has to pay Bale a visit to just see that she's
Reassure.
okay.
Yeah,
The two.
yeah.
He's been looking out after Luke, and he's got to make sure that they didn't get to, or at least he's got to warn.
he has to tell
Yeah.
him that Anakin is not dead. Anakin is now.
Yeah, that
Darth
he's now
Vader.
coming for them. He's got to give them the warning.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's just so much.
Help me,
that
Bail
could
Organa. You're my only hope. That's what I want to see.
happen. No, I just all of those characters are not. I don't even like. Not only are they not possible, I think they're likely that it makes total sense for the progression of the story. For
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Leia, Luke, Yoda.
As children,
Qui-Gon.
young babies or children. Yeah.
Yeah. Chewie. No, I'm just kidding.
Jar Jar.
Jar Jar.
Missa,
Missa joining the Inquisitors.
Missa Darth Jar Jar,
Missa Jar Jar. You see my Missa
Missa the key.
Annie. Off the rails. Are we gonna get
Obi.
Predictions.
predictions?
We've thrown out a few.
We've thrown out some.
We've thrown out a number.
Prediction: we see Luke as a young boy staring off into Twin Suns with Force theme.
I'm making a bold
I
one.
want that
I'm
Force
going
theme
with, I'm
so
going
bad.
I
with
don't care if it
Padme.
fits or not. We got. Give it to us.
I'm going with Padme.
Debbie, throw us a bone. What?
That's my prediction. I think we will see Padme.
Ooh.
You do?
I do.
I
I
Alright.
think it'll be a big surprise, but I think we'll.
There hasn't been any announcement, but my surefire bet is I think we'll see Qui-Gon.
Oh yeah, that,
There hasn't been an
I'm
announcement
more,
of
I
Li-
feel more
of-
confident with Qui-Gon for sure.
Yeah, I think that Liam Neeson is. I don't know who you are.
Of those
But if
characters we
you're-
mentioned that aren't
if
confirmed,
you're-
I feel like he's the
But if
most
you're referring to
likely.
the cosmic force, I can tell you.
I don't know who you are.
There's incredible balance.
Anakin, drop. Vader, drop.
Anakin.
Anakin, drop. No, I think of those characters that aren't confirmed, Qui-Gon, I would say is the most likely.
Well, if we got Jimmy Smith's confirmed, then I'm going to go with Leia,
That's a good bet.
young Leia.
Young Leia. I think we see both
Baby
young
Leia.
Leia and young Luke. That's something you can put in there that makes sense to the story. That is not a huge.
We have to
like,
see Baby Luke. That's the hand.
Baby
Yeah.
Luke is
Yeah.
gonna,
Young
yeah.
Luke is a
Yeah.
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 young Luke, kid Luke.
My bet is that we get a
Luke. Do we see
I
Blue
want
Milk?
it. I want it so badly.
Do we see the cantina?
Oh man, a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
It does.
I mean,
feel,
he knows
it
that
feels
area.
like he's had a
He's been
bad
in there.
experience there,
He's
right?
been
He
in there.
has to have because nothing in the prequels suggests that
That's where
Obi-Wan.
goes.
Nothing in
to,
the prequels
Let me ask
suggests
you-
that
Get away
Obi-Wan
from
has
his
spent a lot of time on Tatooine.
Let me ask you. Here's just a crazy one. Okay, it's crazy. Before in Episode 4, Obi-Wan Kenobi knows Chewbacca.
Now that's crazy.
Right?
in Episode 4.
They go to the cantina because of he knows Chewbacca is connected to as a ship.
Doesn't Chewie
Crazy,
know?
crazy
Crazy.
theory.
Doesn't Chewie?
Crazy theory.
Chewie knows
Crazy.
Yoda.
Huh?
Right?
Chewie would know Yoda.
Chewie knows Yoda.
Chewie
He's got
knows
a
Yoda
connection
'cause
to- he's-
Kashyyyk.
The
He's got a
Kashyyyk, yeah?
connection with the
Kashyyyk.
Jedi already. And I believe that Episode 4, when he
I
goes
forget
in,
about that all the time.
that he's all Obi-Wan already has the connection with Chewbacca. Not that we're going to see Han Solo and Chewbacca on Tatooine in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but
He's like, hey, 20 years from now, you need a ship. I got you.
Ship, I'll be ready.
You never
IMDb.
heard Millennium Falcon? We talked about this 20 years ago.
So Chewie, being as the age that he is,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not saying he's going to be in it. I'm just saying that
No, he'll be in it.
I was making the connection
No,
that
you said
Obi-Wan Kenobi has been to that cantina
Sure.
I do think he.
before.
Yeah.
I think he will go to Mos Eisley because he. There's nothing in the prequels that suggests that he has spent a lot of time on Tatooine. That Obi-Wan has spent a lot of time on Tatooine, let alone Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
But in A New Hope, you'll never find him a wretched hive of scum
Scum
and
and
villainy.
villainy.
You
Right.
must be cautious. So he
Cautious.
clearly has been there and
Yeah.
has not gone well for him.
Right.
Maybe a bunch of people on every corner trying to sell him death sticks. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't want to sell my desk.
You don't want to sell
wanna
your
go
death
home and
sticks. Don't
rethink
sell
your
me
life.
death sticks. I will kill you if you bring up death sticks. He just starts losing his
Don't
patience.
say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see a trip to the cantina. I could see at the very
CCS.
least a trip to Mos Eisley.
Most likely.
I got another one. Another question.
Another question or a bet?
This is more of a question. I'll just let you guys. Do we see a new Force ability that we haven't seen on screen? Whether it's
Ooh.
Anakin trying to
You have something in
communicate
mind.
with. No, not really.
No,
I was
Then
just
my
thinking,
answer is
Anakin
no.
trying to communicate with with Padme
I
or
don't think we'll see another Force ability.
or something.
Oh, a communication thing maybe or something.
You mean a new thing that we haven't seen?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like going off the idea of there not being as many lightsabers maybe involved because Obi-Wan's
Mhm.
trying to stay low key.
There has been
do
a
we
theory-
dive more into the Force?
You
There
mean
has-
like Grogu doing his types of things with the animals? We haven't seen a ton of that.
There has been a theory about Obi-Wan's connection to animals that he
Yeah.
has a special proclivity to control creatures.
Obi-Wan rides the
Right.
on what's the planet called?
That thing.
You got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
hating that I'm blanking on the planet right now.
Geonosis?
Close.
Weren't they on
The big
Geonosis at
pit.
the time?
The
Yeah,
big pit.
I know.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah.
I don't remember the name.
It's right in the comments. I'll wait.
Oh
That's
wait.
where he took
I
on,
can't see the
yeah,
comments.
took on Grievous. Tell
Um,
Chad to plug in.
Go on, stall. I gotta look this up.
I
Because
don't know.
no, the theory of that his control over
He's gonna kill me.
animals is that's a theory.
Yeah,
Somebody's got
and
that.
people.
And people.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell you what I asked my kids. What should I say on the
Utapau.
podcast? Utapau.
Undapau.
What should I say on the podcast? You know what Eli said? My 5-year-old. I swear, with an accent, he said.
Oh,
I said, Eli, what should I say on the podcast tonight? And he said, with an accent, like a bantha.
Like a bantha. Hey,
Like a bantha.
listen. This
Oh.
we could
You said
totally
accent.
see.
He did it.
You
He
said
did.
accent. I thought you were gonna go hello there.
Hello there. He did that too. He said, may the force be with you. He
Do we
said
think
that.
we're gonna get some
Balls,
But
dude.
the first one was like a bantha.
some Tuscans? This is Tatooine we're talking
Oh
about
gosh,
here.
guys, we didn't
We
even
have
mention
to.
pod
Banthas.
race. I mean, we
Jawas.
mentioned it, but not actually mention it. Do we see some pod race thing going around?
Man.
I feel
I
like
would love that Obi-Wan is like living. He's living there like
he
as
just-
a
it
hermit,
just
but he's
starts
like, but he
shaking.
needs some entertainment.
He's watching the
Like he's going with like a
He's
hood on,
banning.
and he's like he's got money on like one of the guys. and stuff like that.
Obi-Wan's in his hut, and it's like a train coming by. He just hears the pod, everything's shaking.
He's eating out of his bowl.
His stuff starts shaking.
Yeah,
He's
that
getting
it's the pod
frustrated.
race, and he's got the pod race hollow net up, and he's watching right there, just in his. He's doing the whole, he's doing like doing the meme online of the Leo pointing at the
Leo.
screen.
And as they come around, he's
Recognizing.
like, number 4.
He's
Number 4 will
recognizing.
win.
He
Number
recognizes
4,
Sebulba.
yes, number 4.
That's it. He recognized
Sebulba.
Sebulba. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Podo. I don't know.
Jabba.
I get some huts.
Some
I don't know. I feel like
No.
again, even as far as that, I feel like this is going to be a lot more real than
This
a
was-
story.
I feel
This
I
was
agree.
every
This is
this
not
was
the gangster
every
story.
single this was every single script meeting for Deborah Chow.
Yeah.
Fab was like, how about we put how about Jabba's in there? Gotta have Jabba, right? Jabba,
Yeah, Jabba. Big slug.
Greedo?
Big slug.
Greedo.
Yeah, big slug. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know the guy made of
something
mud?
About, something about
No,
curtains.
yeah, mid mud. No, yeah.
It feels like
All
this
these
is a
characters
clear.
are
It
around,
feels like
but I
this is a
just-
clear vision of.
Man, what's the vibe gonna be though? What's it gonna be?
I cannot wait
Dark.
to see the
It's not
first
going to be
footage.
Western. It's not going to
No.
be. It's
This
not
is
going to
different.
be.
It's
I
not the
don't know.
rebellion. It's not Andor.
Here's one.
It's not the start of the rebellion.
Here's a question.
This is a character piece
Yeah.
on, but it's
Go-
also going to have Inquisitors and
Right.
Vader and everything.
Going off of Tatooine, like actually off world. How much time or how much of the show do you think we will see off of Tatooine versus on Tatooine?
I definitely think they will leave Tatooine. They'll go multiple other places.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what
I
I
think
think, too,
a
but-
combination of flashback and him moving, doing things.
Like whether it's to Organa or
I feel like
Dagobah or
yep.
Vader.
I feel like Alderaan is a location. I feel like Dagobah is a location.
Live
Is
action
Vader
Alderaan
Castle
would be great.
A
feel
possible
like-
location?
I feel like
Him seeking out because he senses that he can sense
Ooh,
that
you mean they're going to
Obi-Wan.
fight on Mustafar
oh
again?
man,
here's what I'm
Vader's
thinking.
castle
If
is
he
definitely
actually-
going to happen.
Here's the thing: if Obi-Wan
it's got to happen.
if Obi-Wan can actually feel or sense that there's still good in Vader, it's not going to be from Vader coming to Tatooine, and he senses that. Because Vader's not. I don't see Vader coming to Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's Obi-Wan feeling it, I don't know how far he would be able to sense that, but if he can sense or he's doing something with Qui-Gon and some sort of force ability, he's able to sense that there's still good in Vader. Is that then his thing of pursuing Vader, and then he's going back to Mustafar?
We have to Vader because Vader can never come to Tatooine.
Right.
That would blow the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it has to. If they have an encounter, it has to be somewhere else,
Yeah.
and then has to also end where Obi-Wan can escape without being followed or tracked.
Yeah.
So if they do have that encounter, it feels like it's got to be
Sure.
someplace remote.
What if that does come from like Qui-Gon? If Qui-Gon's teaching him and he hears about this Darth Vader or whatever this, and he's trying to
That's where it comes.
figure out
that makes
is
sense.
is that actually Anakin? Is the Anakin still alive? And it comes through his growing stronger and Qui-Gon's teachings of trying to sense and feel who is out there. What is this that's
Mhm.
going on?
That makes a lot of sense because old Obi-Wan Force Ghost, Yoda Force Ghost feels like they're privy to information that's not readily available. Like they're able to either go other places and experience other things.
Sure.
So I think that might be where that revelation comes from. Qui-Gon tells him that Anakin's not dead. And because of the connection with with Qui-Gon and Anakin, that's a powerful. I mean, imagine
You just gave me a crazy idea.
Qui-Gon realizing
Cloning?
that Anakin. Qui-Gon is the one. Think about this. Qui-Gon is the one that's driving Obi-Wan to see the good.
You
Don't give up on Anakin. There's good. Remember the
'Cause he
boy.
was
I was gonna
Remember
say,
who he
ready?
was.
Because he was the ultimate in Anakin's corner.
Is it
That's right.
possible?
That's what's
is
driving
it possible
Obi-Wan
we hear?
to try to bring him back.
Is it possible we hear Qui-Gon in that training telling Obi-Wan he is still the chosen one? He's still the chosen one.
They're still good in him. Don't give up on him.
And he's
Ah,
That's why.
referencing the moment of his turning on Palpatine, but he's telling him whether it's him saying that maybe it's not him necessarily saying there's still good in him, but him saying, I still believe he is the chosen one.
Oh,
He is the
man.
one to still bring balance to the Force. It's hard to see. It's hard to picture it
Mhm.
after everything that's happened and going on currently,
Mm-hmm.
but he is still the chosen one. Is it possible we see Qui-Gon having that conversation, Obi-Wan wrestling with the fact of like, how do I do it? How do I turn him? And it comes down, and that's the story of this thing is his mission now becomes, I've got to turn. How do I go about wrestling with what I've done? Wrestling with feeling like I've done this, but also realizing I now have a new mission of if he is this chosen one, if he still is, how do I turn him? And then that comes full circle with him then realizing it's not me who's going to do it, it's Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where we
Burned
lead up to the point of him
literally
realizing
burned that bridge.
Literally
It's-
burned it.
Mm-hmm. He also needs absolution, and only Qui-Gon can give it.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Well, that's right. Only
well, that's right.
only
Qui-Gon's
Qui-Gon,
a Sith.
only Qui-Gon can release Obi-Wan from the guilt.
Yeah.
He's the only one that can do it.
Yeah.
So
Obi-Wan can
by
say,
having that
well,
conversation,
this actually isn't my fault. I told you not to drink.
told you it was a bad idea.
I know you're dead and
You
all,
forced me
but
to.
it's kind of your fault.
Yeah.
I just thinking about that. I think that would be such a cool
I think
moment.
that's gonna
Let me
be
ask you
the
guys
thing.
this.
Qui-Gon
They
telling
both
Obi-Wan,
agree.
he's
This is-
still the chosen one.
This has got me
Man.
thinking. This whole him fighting again and him facing Anakin again, but us knowing where it ends up. Do we think whether we get anything in this show about it or not, based on how their encounter goes?
Real quick, Derek, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the sub.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks
for
man.
watching.
Continue, Parker. Hello. Want to make sure we're communicating.
Yeah, no,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Thanks for watching. You tuned in at the right time.
Yeah. Let's
'Cause
hear
I've
it.
got some gold.
You do? Oh, all right.
It's
Um,
gold, it's
No, I
gold.
was wondering, do we? This is some speculation as far as just how do we view stuff that's already come in Star Wars? Some little head canon. Like what do we think about this? Did Obi-Wan know? Do we get from watching A New Hope that Obi-Wan knew going into his battle with Darth Vader that he would die, that this was his last? Or I've always wondered how to take that because he's fighting with him, he's trying to get, and then he looks at Luke, and then he does the move of like.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like he's being overpowered by Vader or
No.
like he's about to die, so I'm just like, okay, I'll
Right.
just go out on my sword. He literally just decides, I'm done.
It seemed like he went in with a purpose, and
So I'm wondering if there's anything, not that
wonder-
necessarily we'll get it
I
from
like
this,
that.
but he tries to defeat him, and there's it could be either he injures him or something like that, but there's some sort of, whether he personally can't come to actually do it, like emotionally, I cannot kill Anakin because I've been told by Qui-Gon or anyone something like that there's more to his story coming and that there's light in him or anything like that. But I can be a symbol to help, but I can go face him again. And in doing so and me dying, that is what finally brings Luke into the story. Like he goes
Mhm.
with him just because Beru and Uncle Owen and Beru are killed, and that's why he's like, "There's nothing for me here." But when he really when he goes all in on it, is when Ben dies.
yeah.
Is there anything that we could get possibly that their first encounter leads to some sort of resolution in Obi-Wan's mind that either one, I can't physically, with how strong he is now, I can't physically beat him in a lightsaber duel anymore, or emotionally, I will never come to the point where I can kill him. This was my
you
brother.
can't,
I
yeah.
can't, even if he's become what he's
Yeah.
become, I can't kill him. Or the third option would just be that Qui-Gon has told him that, like maybe, hey, see if you can talk him back. Don't kill him.
Yeah.
Again, that could be wild speculation, but I've always wondered why Obi-Wan starts a fight where he doesn't look like he's just not trying to get him. Like they're fighting, and he does his nice little
Mhm.
slow spin moves and all that stuff. But then he all of a sudden, the last second, turns to Luke's, and then blah, 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 and he decides. I've always wondered, did he go into that fight knowing this is the end for me? Or did his day start off thinking, I tell you what,
Yeah.
today's the day I finally beat
Hmm.
Darth. I don't know.
What if-
I've wondered if you guys had any thoughts on that. If you
I hadn't thought
I
about
do.
it until you mentioned it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, what if there's a part of Obi-Wan where he goes in with the purpose of knowing that is kind of where he sees the outcome of that sort of moment or that mission of like, I'm going to confront Vader again, and this is I already can picture that this is how I'm gonna go out here, and it's because there's a part of him that maybe thinks his loss is actually something that will touch Vader. Like, if I go out, me actually being gone,
Mm-hmm.
and Vader seeing that in front of him is a moment that can actually touch Anakin again, or something like that. I don't know if that's something that he will look at and think, if there's any shot of him still being good, this is a way that could potentially tap into Anakin again, and seeing me as Obi-Wan actually going out right in front of him. Because if he died, if he did this and became a Force ghost somewhere else, and Anakin didn't witness it, Vader didn't witness it, it wouldn't have as much of an effect.
Yeah.
But if he is right there and he swings through and he's not gone, he realizes I didn't really defeat him. But
Right.
he's gone, and I see it happen.
Yep.
And Vader sees it happen. That maybe that's a way of trying to tap back into that little piece of light that's
Doing it
still in
for
Vader.
Vader?
Maybe
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. I'm piecing
wanna hear what
together.
you
I'm
got.
piecing together some thoughts here. So, what does Obi-Wan say in the battle? You can't win, Darth. Strike me down. I should become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Right.
So Obi-Wan already understands that aspect, and he learned that from Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon.
We find that out, right? He's going
Mhm.
to commune
Yeah.
with Qui-Gon and learn that connection. But I think he went there to defeat him. I believe that. But I think in that one moment when he saw Luke, he realized,
That's when it.
I can't
It's
kill
a-
his father.
Mm.
In front of the boy, I'm going to kill his own father, and then I'm going to tell him that I'm the good guy. Why
What's
would
that
I
gonna,
not?
Yeah, what's that gonna do for Luke?
Why would I
Yeah.
not? How could I just kill him instead of trying to save him? The whole point of me watching Luke, we've already decided that we've got to raise this boy up to redeem. We've got to bring Anakin back to the light side. I can't kill him in front of Luke. The Emperor's going to have Luke
Like that.
like that because I'll be, maybe not at first,
Yeah.
but when the truth comes around and the Emperor finds his way into Luke's ear and says, Obi-Wan killed your father. That was your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck talking out of that.
Luke
Right.
is more likely to turn.
Wow.
But also, if Obi-Wan sacrifices himself, now Obi-Wan has not only sacrificed himself in front of Luke as being willing to die to demonstrate he literally wasn't defeated.
Yeah.
He gets that benefit as well. And he
Yeah.
also truly believes that I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And because of his death there, he is able to influence the destruction of the Death Star, which he couldn't have done if he was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is able to commune with Luke in Empire Strikes Back, which he
Yep.
couldn't have done. And also allowed then the trajectory of bringing Luke to Vader to confront him and seeing an example of selfless sacrifice, which is the
Yeah.
only way. When Luke did it, he did the same thing. He threw the thing away and said, I won't do it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
he saw that demonstrated in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
So I think it was a demonstration that we don't have to kill the enemy to redeem them. We can do it another way.
Yeah.
I think it's a
What I love about
I
that
loved it. It's a
too is
perfect-
that
Interesting,
right
yeah.
there is also so consistent with what ends up happening in the sequel trilogy with Ben Solo, because
absolutely.
I've heard a lot of people
Luke
that
took
have,
the same path then.
exactly. I've heard a lot
Yeah.
of people that have said, and I'll admit when I first heard the criticism, I thought like, oh, I wonder about that, and then I thought through it. Is some people said, is it retconning or why does Ben Solo turn back when just in the previous movie, Luke says to Leia, I can't
Yeah.
save him. She says, I know my son is gone, and he says, no one's ever really gone.
No one's ever really. Mm-hmm.
I can't save him. Doesn't mean he can't be saved. Those are two different things. He
Mhm.
said, I can't save him.
Yeah.
And then when he is talking with him, he's like, Did you come here just, to save my soul? No. And he gives him this big Mark Hamill no. And like has some snark to it. But the last line he leaves him with is the see you around, kid.
Yeah.
And whether it's, force again, obviously the way it's kind of told in the story is that it's like a memory of Ben's that's kind of like
Mhm.
eating at him. But from a storytelling foreshadowing standpoint, it's not, that's the end of Luke talking with Ben, but it's Han that's going to finally get to him. And it's not Obi-Wan who has a closer relationship with Anakin that's able to bring him back. It's only his son.
That's right.
And both of them, though, have the similarities of I tried to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
I failed. I tried to fight him. Even Luke had his interaction with Kylo
Right.
as far as like the initial thing that kind of put him over the edge, and then they
Yeah.
had that big showdown. But then Luke, what does Luke do? In classic old Ben fashion,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't get defeated, but he goes out like it
Yep.
just mirrors so perfectly with
That's
what
right.
especially
Sacrificial
when you-
death to move someone closer to redemption.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
To move them
Yeah.
closer to redemption, and to then and then also we talk about what would I've liked to see. What's the most Jedi way that Luke could possibly influence that, or what's the most Jedi way that old Ben could influence Kylo could influence Vader, as far as could influence the fate of the galaxy and the state of Darth Vader and his turning,
Sure.
is that I elevate the person who can actually get this done, but that I go out not defeated by him, but also
Mhm.
not the murderer.
That's right.
I'm not doing. I'm here
Yeah.
to confront
Can't
you,
think of another way.
and then I am the symbol. I'm only a symbol for what's going to come next.
Mhm.
And then Luke's the same thing. He's just there symbolically. And
Yeah.
I remember when all that stuff happened, like when Luke in Last Jedi went out, a lot of people were like, "What?" And I'm like, after thinking about it, it not only is it really cool, but it's in a good way, like the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
they even put the lightsaber through him. Now Ben does
Yeah,
Ben
yeah.
Solo puts
Right.
it through like this, but
the
Darth
same.
does that and he's gone. It just
he's
completely
not,
adds
he's
up.
not there anymore. Yeah.
It adds up,
Right.
but then also I can't turn him. Obi-Wan couldn't turn him, but it's just because he's not the one who can turn him. It's not that he can't be turned.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a long-winded answer to just say I love the parallels
Yeah.
between those, and then how Luke learns the lesson from what Obi-Wan did for him,
For sure.
and that's
Well, yeah, and
that's the thing, is
Right.
that-
You got to think about what's the alternative, right?
yeah.
What's the alternative? Luke kills
Just
Ben
kill him.
Solo?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
well,
No,
but
that's
then
not-
what's the glory in that?
Yeah.
Luke dies being blasted by ancient monkey-feeted walkers? What's that going to do? That doesn't work. How do
No.
you get those two things to work?
Yeah.
If you it's just like, Boba and Mando, you got to have a meeting. They're not going to. How do you have them fighting? You can't have one better. You don't
No,
want to
you
do
make-
that. We all know Luke was more powerful than Kylo.
Yeah.
If they meet straight up, he's going to kill him. Can't have that, even as an old man. So I think that is an example. It's the same thing and who knows if these all fit together somehow because they thought about it later.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes it
But-
just ends up like that.
I
but
think it
there's a
totally
reason
makes
why
a lot of sense.
there's a
Yeah.
reason why Luke didn't just go hunt down Kylo right after he turned.
Yeah.
Right.
He's his nephew.
Right.
It's
It's the same. It's the
it's
same
the
thing
same
with
thing
Vader.
of, like-
he couldn't do it.
Right,
You
right.
can't-
Yeah, well, I mean, could Luke have just been like, yeah, well, I'm the most powerful and I let this happen, but now I got to go right or wrong. I'm going to go kill him. Instead, he left because he's like, this is my nephew. I can't go be the one to.
No.
Even when he's trying to get back and Rey's trying to get him back in the story, this is not going to go the way you think.
Right.
One, he's not going to turn because of what I say to him,
Yeah.
but also, two, I'm not going to go kill him.
I
I'm
think
not
it's
gonna
the
be
same
able to
thing
do it.
Obi-Wan is going to experience. Is even though they're not related, they even talk about how Obi-Wan, I love you. You're my brother, right? So it's the same thing of him realizing I can't kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be the one to kill him. I mean, defeating him is different than just coming to grips with. I think that is something we may see him struggle with in the show. Is like, is this something that I have to do even though I don't want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe him realizing I can't do it, or maybe him trying to but realizing I can't do it. I don't know, but I feel like that struggle is similar to what Luke was faced with. Like, how can maybe I should. It might save some lives, but how can I? I don't know.
I agree.
I can't wait for
Are
the
we
show.
convinced? Are we convinced, based on Ewan McGregor, that they're going to meet in a lightsaber battle in this show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's convinced.
Yeah.
So we
and
know.
Kathy
I
Kennedy
think
said
it's
the words.
basically confirmed.
She said
Okay,
the
so
words
are-
on the Disney Investor Day, a rematch of the century, a
Okay,
rematch,
so-
a rematch for the 80s.
So we know that they don't die.
yeah,
right.
We know that they're not maimed. We could be. I guess you could rebuild Vader,
yeah,
but we don't.
Obi-Wan's
But you
actually
can't
just
have one-
about
you
to
can't-
do and everything.
I mean, from a storyline, you can't have Obi-Wan win again and not kill him. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
no,
It has to somehow come to a draw, standoff, escape, something that causes this to end in a standoff to where they don't kill each other.
Yeah.
Is it mercy? I don't think so.
I think
I don't see that being the thing either. Because I mean, all things being equal, Obi-Wan
Yeah.
was dead set on killing Vader and the Emperor for Luke to do it. So he wasn't done with that plan.
Right.
So I mean, in Empire,
But that could be after he could maybe not have gotten to that point yet.
he could maybe still
As in
be
he
trying
could
to
have
not
this
kill him.
standoff with Vader and he senses the good in him and he's not able to kill him in the show, and it ends with him take my hand, like
Yeah.
return to the, and then that's kind of something happens where they have to
Could
split, but it comes to him, they have a standoff or they have their duel, kind of draw, and him come back like there's still good in you, and that's kind of where we see that end, and then Obi-Wan's got to get out or something like that.
could
And then that's
Anakin-
where it leads to Obi-Wan later on with Luke saying, I wasn't able to do it. And then
Right.
him maybe thinking that there's no choice but to kill him now. I
Yeah.
already tried to turn him back and it didn't work.
didn't work.
I
We
don't
could
know.
go. Could be for all day. All for it.
Yeah,
That
good.
is
When we
true.
talk about Qui-Gon interacting with Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
does Qui-Gon interact with Anakin?
He did in Clone Wars.
Right. So could we
On
have?
Mortis.
Yeah,
Could
With some
we?
of those, it's hard to tell
It's hard
what's
to-
real
that's
and
if it was
what's,
real or if it was
what's-
that's true.
what's the brother.
I'm just wondering, do we
influencing? Does
have-
he was some of the Force visions?
But he did say,
But
"Do you
that-
believe in
but
you?
that felt
Do you believe
weird.
you are the chosen one?" And he said, "I do."
Yes.
I do.
That seemed like it was coming from Qui-Gon.
That did feel like it was. coming
Or
from
was
Qui-Gon.
that? Or was that
Yes, I do.
Anakin's ego?
You know what?
Talking through the.
I am the
through-
chosen one.
I am.
Yeah.
Maybe. I was wondering
Maybe.
if does
Maybe.
is there a spark of mercy in Darth Vader
Ooh, like kind of like a
Toward-
Kylo not pulling the trigger moment.
toward Obi-Wan? I don't see that.
Yeah.
As I say it, doesn't make sense. I hate you.
I feel like yeah.
pretty.
I feel like
When we
the
last
Vader
saw,
we
I was
see
but the
in
learner.
this-
Now I am the
He is the
master.
main-
I feel like the
enemy.
Vader we see in this will be the dark, like it will be him at peak
hatred for
peak
Obi-Wan.
dark
I think
side,
this is. I do
I think
most
so.
dark he's ever been.
I
I
think
think
so.
this is gonna be.
I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, I think
I
this
do
is
it.
gonna be the biggest,
Do
baddest
it.
Vader we've seen. That's what I think.
Man.
Do we get? I mean, how do we not see
Just-
Palpatine?
Just completely fueled by rage.
Do we not see Palpatine?
We have to hear him at least.
How do you get
I don't
that-
know if they do. I mean, I think that
Wouldn't
it makes
he be
sense
the driving
story-wise. It makes
factor
sense
behind
story-wise.
How
the-
do we not get that much Vader? Like, how do we not get a lot of Vader?
He's
It
with
driving
definitely
any
makes sense
Palpatine?
story-wise. I'm just trying to think in my head if they bring back Ian McDermott again.
Even if it's him going and
Like
kneeling
that, I'm
before the
sure they
turn
would
of
love
the chair.
to. I just mean if they feel like we just did it for
true,
Rise of Skywalker.
true, but yeah, I just feel like this.
Could be.
Yeah,
But
but
if
like
they
even
do,
if
I
it's-
would. Oh, I would love it.
like what
I
if
just
Vader
love
gets
every
the kneel
scene with
again?
Palpatine.
Vader going and getting the kneel and Palpatine just turning on the chair and it's like a one conversation type and that's all we see of him. I don't know.
says, "Release the Inquisitors. Release the Kraken." That's Liam Neeson.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I think it could. I mean, it definitely makes sense
It's
story-wise.
yeah, I mean it's possible.
I think it could be in there.
I would like
It's
to
just, I
see.
don't
I would
know.
like to see Vader going rogue. Like his hatred for Obi-Wan is driving him completely off the.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, at this
Like,
time
just
they've been
he's
hunting down.
Totally focused on that
Like
one
do
thing.
we see him
Yes.
pursuing
With
the
detriment
bounty
to-
hunters, like bounty hunters and obviously the
That's what I
Inquisitors
thought
are
about
confirmed.
anybody-
So it's
yeah.
I
like
like that. It becomes obsessed.
Inquisitors, bounty hunters.
His obsession, I believe, might be. I'm rethinking my mercy. His obsession is the destruction of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole point. That's the whole,
He and Maul both.
That's Vader's entire purpose now.
Well, especially
They're
because
sending out all these things. Leave that to me. Obi-Wan is his thing.
yeah.
So I
Because-
don't even know if we'll see Inquisitors coming for Obi-Wan because Vader would not. I want.
Or it could be
You
it
find
could be
him-
another I want him alive.
You find him and you tell me where he is. If you kill him,
You're dead.
you'll answer to me. I want him. I just need to know where he is.
Yeah.
And they're all looking. We'll see probe droids. We'll see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do we get?
I think you're
You
right.
won't find him on Tatooine though.
Ugh, nothing is.
No.
That wouldn't make sense.
No.
No. Yeah, he can't find him on Tatooine, or else he would know.
Is that part of maybe good.
Ah,
Whoa.
hey,
But is it,
Maybe.
if he knows that these Inquisitors are out there, maybe that's part of why Obi-Wan realizes I gotta leave Tatooine. Because if they're looking for me, they're not looking for Luke.
mm,
If they're looking for me and they come
They
to
don't know
Tatooine and they
he's
find me,
there.
that's not good. I gotta be found somewhere else. If they're gonna find me, I gotta be somewhere else when that happens.
I believe that. Ooh, I love it. That's how we fix it. That's how we fix it. He delivers the child to the only family that he has, and then Obi-Wan is gone. He is not on Tatooine.
Mm.
He can't be. In his mind, even though Darth
I'm
Vader,
here,
even
I
though
bring
Anakin
danger
is
to-
dead, if I stay here, I'm the connection. When I'm gone, this baby is safe. Nobody knows his name. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows where he is yet.
It's only
He's just a
later that
baby.
he comes back, you think?
He's just a baby, and he goes. And I think it's when he comes. I think that's when he delivers the child, and then
The
goes
child, yeah.
goes to Dagobah to
We
learn
call
to
him
commune
Luke.
with Qui-Gon.
The child.
The
It's
child.
Grogu. Oh, sorry, wrong
And
child.
somewhere on this thing, the mission or Darth Vader's mission in life is the destruction, because he really caused Padme to turn against him. He killed him, left him for dead, cut off his limbs.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is the center of the hatred for Darth Vader, and that's his mission. And I think we start the story on Tatooine, but surprisingly we don't. Obi-Wan is off to Dagobah or someplace else.
Let me ask you guys this.
That'd be
because I
crazy.
don't-
Prediction.
Crazy.
This has not been. I don't think it's been confirmed anywhere that he is 100% in it.
Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan. No, Boba Fett.
It's his only scene. Him
Boba
with the
Fett's-
baby, and then it's it.
With his age, is James Earl Jones still playing the voice of Darth Vader?
I just
The reason I
assumed
asked-
he was, but
The only reason I asked this
Good question.
is,
The voice is different.
he's definitely
the voice is different for sure.
he's definitely noticeably older as far
Mhm.
as but even him being older, I love hearing his voice. His voice in Rebels is definitely noticeably aged. His voice in Rogue One is definitely noticeably aged.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now we're a good 7 years from 6 years end of Rebels.
Can I? Sorry,
5 years, 6 years end of
my
Rebels?
brain is getting ahead
Their
of my-
technology now is just they could make the voice.
Try not to choke on your.
I mean, they really could.
That's right.
I
We're
hate to
gonna
say it,
use.
'cause I would love to have James Earl
No,
Jones,
they're
but
gonna
they
use
could, they could make the exact voice.
They're gonna use a computerized version
Yeah.
of Vader's voice. I'll bet you.
They definitely know how to do it now.
They
I'll
could.
bet you that's what they do. Because it's got.
You don't
they
even
gotta
have to
change it
match the mouth.
sometime.
Right.
Vader.
It'd be easy. It'd be, yeah.
That's what makes it
It's
so
a lot
perfect.
easier than doing deepfake
That's
Luke.
what makes it so
Yeah.
perfect.
I have a feeling that's
easy.
what they're doing.
Could
Yeah.
be. It's already computer. I mean, it's a computerized voice anyway.
And-
as
and
far
it-
as
and
what it's obviously
Yeah.
James Earl Jones, but I mean, in story,
Right.
it's supposed to be coming.
Yeah, it's
supposed to
already
not
got
sound like.
sound effects on
And
it.
we can probably say for certain that Hayden will not be in the It doesn't make sense. Hayden in the costume doesn't make sense. He's not tall enough.
I predict he'll only be in the suit in
The
scenes
show
if
reveal.
we see without
we see
him
partial.
without his
like a
yeah.
face. Yeah.
Which is why I
But
was
we won't
saying
see
it
him
doesn't.
in the battle scenes. Because he's taller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
The
is supposed to
bionic
be.
legs have made him
right.
taller.
It's
than
supposed to
he
be
was before.
Prowse. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
So we will see Anakin as. I mean,
That's what you got to see. Hayden as Anakin.
but
Yeah.
not as the.
But I do, yeah,
Vader.
I do still think we'll see him with the helmet on.
We might
at
see
some
halfway.
point, Yeah.
But I,
Even if it's him sitting in the pod, like just like the shot we saw
That we
from the
will see.
originals.
I
If
think we
it's
could
him
see
in the
that.
pod and the helmet's coming
Yeah.
down, but it's Hayden Christensen.
The
we
face
saw the
burned and
cracked
everything.
mask in with him and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
We saw that,
That kind of
so
thing.
I think we could see something like that. And we don't necessarily know. I mean, we know that he died when his mask was off, but he was also electrocuted. So that's why it didn't
Right,
work. Why
right.
he couldn't breathe. We
Yeah.
don't know that he couldn't just take it off and still.
Well, because he
Right.
still takes
Yeah,
it off
'cause
in those pods.
He takes it
yeah.
off in the pod. And
Yeah,
stuff,
no,
and
I
he-
think it's.
I think the reason why that is because
he's still plugged in.
there's a seal on it, I
Yeah.
believe. Because when it's lifted and the mask comes down, it replaces that.
Right.
But
But it
I
could be like
believe
a
it's-
temporary thing. I don't mean he'll be walking around
Could
all the
be,
time, but it could
right.
be like a temporary. I don't know.
I've always thought of that. There's some mixture. So part of it is that. Part of what you may have seen this in some of the other books. Part of it is a dependency upon whatever the Emperor is providing to Vader is keeping him alive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's some dependency there.
Sure.
I don't think it's necessarily a force connection, but there's some chemical mix, something that he breathes that keeps him alive.
Yeah.
And I think when that thing comes down on him, it's filled in the air, and that's the only moment of freedom he really has is when he's inside of that chamber.
In the pod.
It mimics the inside of the mask,
Hmm.
and when that lifts, we see that lifts at the same time his helmet comes down,
Yeah.
and he needs that to breathe. I've always thought that
Yeah.
there's
No, I
some
like that.
mixture.
Yeah.
Because the breathing thing doesn't, and it might have been coincidental. The breathing thing doesn't match with the voice. It breathes when he's talking.
Yeah.
Notice that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the breath happens when he's talking. So that thing is actually pumping. It's not breath. It's actually pumping some mixture
Yeah.
into the suit that allows him to breathe with it on. So we may see him with it off, but I've always thought he needed when it came off for good, and he didn't put it on. He was basically giving himself up, and he was electrocuted too. I think. Yeah. I don't know. Speculation.
Yeah. Who knows? Could be. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Predictions. I predict we
Let's
will get a trailer
tonight.
sometime in March. I don't think we'll get it in the next 10 days or so. However many days are left in February. I think it'll happen in March. I don't. It's funny because initially everyone was excited, like thinking a while back, we'd get a trailer. On the Disney Plus day was the big day we thought we were all getting that trailer.
Yeah.
And then they put out just like that behind the scenes kind
Which
of little.
there were
a
suspicious amount of credible leaks that apparently there was some sort of
There was some planned, and then they didn't.
planned trailer, and then they didn't do it.
Thought we might get a Super Bowl.
And then people were saying Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I do think that they don't want to. I think they didn't want to do anything while Book of Boba Fett was out.
Right.
Mhm.
I think they. Which, side note, did you guys see that the finale of Book of Boba Fett had
Bigger than Mando.
bigger than Mando
I
finale?
did see that.
Mando
Like
season
36
2 finale.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
36% higher or something like that,
Wow.
viewers. Which it does have probably more subscribers now than it did then, but
That's
still.
right. It does have
Yeah.
more.
But still, Mando season 2 had a lot of hype leading
mean,
into it.
Yeah.
And some people were a little bit more mixed on Boba leading into it. And still, everyone was like,
Right.
I'm watching it.
You see the ending.
And we loved it.
It's one thing
But
about Star Wars. Even the people that don't like it are going to be watching it.
How many were
Star
watching the
Wars.
hopefully the mods get destroyed in this battle? I wonder
Yeah.
how many would say that was
Nate made a funny video about
The bike.
there's this funny like sound going around on this audio clip going around on TikTok that people use for different
It
things.
was a movie theater reaction.
It was a movie theater reaction for spoiler alert if you
For-
have not seen
yeah.
No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. Us three have seen it. You've probably seen it. Everyone in the world's seen it now.
Yeah.
But there was a like opening night. There was some fan reactions opening night of the scene when MJ falls and Tom Holland Spider-Man jumps, and then the glider takes Tom Holland away, and now she's just free falling.
Right.
And then Andrew
Comes down.
Yeah.
runs,
Mhm.
and like the audio online is like everyone going like, oh, and there's like a big gasp, oh, and then when Andrew turns to everyone goes, oh, yeah, as he's like running and jumping because everyone gets excited that he's
Right.
about to save the day.
Yep.
And so the funny thing online is people
Putting
using that
audio.
for like non-heroic things or like making like one of the first things I ever saw was this video of was a video from Shrek 2. Like someone put Shrek 2 and it was like Gingy, the gingerbread man,
Right.
saving the day at the end and becoming like the drawbridge that everyone walks across at the end as these giant gingerbread man.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, oh, and everyone goes, and then the gingerbread man like falls down and goes, oh, and then they walk across the back and goes, oh, yeah. Which at the heart of it is hilarious just because in your mind it's also painting that that there's an opening night packed house for Shrek 2. And I saw a different one for like
There actually was, but-
Stuart Little. There was one for Stuart Little, and it was like a bird swooping in, and then it was Stuart Little's little airplane coming out of the side.
Right.
And everyone going, yeah. But Nate used it. Nate made a TikTok of
Vespas.
of the
Biker
Vespas,
mods.
and there was people going like, oh, and like
They come
gasping
around the corner in the
gasping
finale.
and then everyone goes, oh, and it's like scared when the Vespas show up, and then all of a sudden the first one shot, and explodes, and everyone goes, yeah. And it was to that same.
Oh yeah, whoa!
It was to that same thing. So
That
it was
is
a long
awesome.
way of saying that I think there were people who were cheering it, but there were probably people who were hoping that all of them got like that.
Yeah.
We got a tangent question too. If he
Oh,
goes,
good. 'Cause
Yeah,
I just
I
went on a
like
big
it. I saw
tangent.
we
that.
don't do Derek. We don't do tangents on this show. So no, I'm just kidding.
No, we do nothing but
We
tangents.
We're
could
gonna
be
have an episode one time that's just gonna be the
the tangent.
thumbnail is just tangents.
The tangent guys.
The tangent.
We
guys.
love tangents. A little
Tangent
off
guys.
topic. Who do you guys think saved Grogu?
Ooh, we've
Ooh.
discussed this before.
Mace Windu.
Could this be very?
Nice.
Wait,
I
wait,
think
wait,
Grogu
wait.
saved Grogu. No.
Derek might be onto something. Could this be very much on topic?
On Jeff.
It could be on topic.
No, I don't think
Could
it was
be.
Obi-Wan.
Did Obi-Wan save him?
But
He was at the temple.
Wow.
the interesting part of
It actually makes sense.
the interesting thing that both Rebels and Fallen Order and now Mando has shown is that we have no idea how many Jedi are actually out there.
Yeah.
Like we know
And the
a very
games.
limited amount. That's what I was saying. Fallen Order
Oh, yeah,
and
Fallen Order and
is that we know that some of them escaped. Cal Kestis escaped,
And we
Kanan-
know that-
Kanan Jarrus, Caleb Dune,
and now the last Jedi has also
And we know
opened
that-
up the idea that they're all just born Jedi too.
well, that's I mean that's I don't think
Maybe.
that that's just a new thing though.
Well, Anakin too. I mean,
Anakin, we don't know anything
Anakin
about
didn't
Obi-Wan's
come from a-
heritage.
No.
Do we know that Obi-Wan seems to have come
Yeah.
from unless you go to like old legend
True.
stuff. I think he seems like
Yeah, well, even in Clone
some
Wars
people
and
take
Rebels,
what I would call the Hermione route.
even in Clone Wars
Right?
and
Like
Rebels.
she just appears
Yeah.
a wizard. She
Yeah,
has
sure.
Muggle parents.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
Just
that's
happens.
it. Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember who
Not all of us are Malfoys.
who does not have his thumb on the pulse of the universe, completely out of touch. Grand Moff Tarkin. You, my friend, are the last of the religion.
The religion. You're also saying the most
Okay.
dangerous person who's right there, and you're just like,
And
talking
Vader's
back
like,
to him.
there's like, I can think of like 6 right now.
it's
Well, I've
like
been trying. What do you mean?
The guy I just said I
Vader-
could feel
Vader
that he's
gets on the
the
phone
ship.
and-
Yeah, that guy. Is,
That one.
Vader
that
gets
one.
on the phone and goes.
I think Ahsoka's
And
dead.
Vader's talking with his accountant on the phone and saying, "Now, why did I hire these inquisitors? Because according to Grand Moff
Tarkin
Tarkin,
says
there's
that
none
underneath.
left.
There's none left.
This was a bad
There's
investment.
none left. Simba.
Simba, you are."
No, I don't. Who saved Grogu? I
Didn't we get a clue in the Mando? I mean, the Boba Fett. Sorry.
don't know if we got a clue.
There
we
was,
got a,
there's
we
three. They
saw-
showed those
Saw.
3 right there, but I
saw
don't.
him die. I
We saw them
believe.
die.
I don't.
Jocasta knew the librarian.
Jocasta Nu. I've
If it
seen
is
people
not in the
speculate
thing,
that.
if it is not in the archives, does
We-
not exist.
We know Jocasta Nu survived Order 66.
Mhm.
That was in. There's comics about it, so we know that she got out from the library. She finally left the library.
Yeah.
It'd be great
So
if
we know she
Kanan-
survived.
Be great if Kanan's like, "Come here, little green guy." He just hops on
Let's
his back. He's
go.
like, "Let's go, not be Jedi's together." They both just go quit. Let's go repress.
Although we saw Kanan's
Let's
Order
go.
66 perspective. Bad Batch.
We did then. We did.
Right,
see
right,
Bad
right.
Batch.
So-
we saw Bad Batch.
What did Ahsoka say about Grogu's escape? Did she say a Jedi? I'm trying to remember.
I think it
A
was just.
Jedi.
I think
Uh,
it was just he was saved. From
He
the
was
temple
saved
or
from the
something.
temple. Didn't
Yeah, I
say a
don't think it was
Jedi.
specifically a Jedi.
He was saved on Coruscant, or he was saved at the temple during Order something like that.
Mm.
I'll have to go back and rewatch it. But is it true that? See, because I started thinking
I think we just thought that because that's
we just
the-
assumed
We just
It's a
assumed
temple.
Jedi temple.
Temple.
A
He's
Jedi
a train.
would've-
He's being trained, and he escaped.
or
Yeah.
does
help.
Grogu even? I don't know. Was he even saved, or did it just appear that he was saved? Like, did someone else just come in? What? I don't know. Was he more so spared?
I'm more upset he's been in that egg for 50 years
egg.
because he's in
That'll
that thing in
repress your
that
memories
scene.
right
Like,
there.
talk about a prisoner. He's in that egg in that scene, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's in the egg. 50
He's
years.
in
50 years later,
That is,
he's in the egg. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
He's
I don't
probably
know
in
who
and out.
saved. I don't know. I don't know who saved him.
You
Could
don't
it
have a
have
guess?
been?
Do we think it was a Jedi?
Could it have been like a temple guard that? Could it be someone we've never seen?
And if Grogu was saved, then wouldn't there be potentially others? That why would
Yeah.
he be the only? Maybe he could be the only one.
Well, we know that Obi-Wan's message that he rerouted or changed was that any surviving Jedi
Wait,
don't
Nate,
return
no,
to the temple.
Don't return.
no. Give us the message.
yeah, you
Give
have
us
to
the message.
perform it.
I know you know the message.
This
Give us
is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. Do not return to the temple, for that time has passed.
And how big your manners are, and how big your pocketbook is. Like a
For
panther.
that time has
Like a
passed.
bantha.
I don't know why I went to
A new
Dexter
time
Jester,
will
but
rise. Yeah, I don't know.
nice job.
So our informed opinion is we have no idea.
That's our.
I can confidently say I have no idea. You have no idea.
I have no
do we
idea,
think,
Master.
Do we think that they're going to have somebody known, or is
is
this
it
going to be
unknown?
an opportunity to introduce someone else? I have a theory that someone else saved him and continued his training
Oh.
Oh,
Do you have a theory as
Mace.
to who that is?
for a time. Oh,
Mace.
he was upstairs getting his arm cut off Getting cast out the
He fall-
window.
He falls down, lands. Grogu.
He already was thrown out the window. Oh, that's right. He fell down. He's like,
He fell down,
ah.
Grogu.
He falls on the egg,
He falls
Falls
on
on
the
and
the
it
egg.
lifts him up.
He and Grogu live out 50 years in the egg.
Yeah.
Turns into a Capital One. What's in your wallet,
What's in
Grogu?
your wallet?
What's in your
What's in
egg,
your wallet?
Grogu?
What's in your wallet?
Turned right into an ad.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know.
That would be a great Capital One ad. Mace Windu flies out of the window. What's in your wallet?
That's just one arm just flying down. What's in your
I
wallet?
guess he had. Oh, man. I don't know who it could be. I think it's somebody I think it was saved by
A new,
a Jedi. He wouldn't have been saved by a little Padawan.
Someone we don't
a
know.
Jedi.
yeah, a Jedi.
Taken out, and we're gonna have that. We can
I like the
introduce
idea
that
that
character.
it's,
somewhere.
what's her name?
Jocasta Nu?
Jocasta
Jocasta
Nu.
Nu.
Could be.
Could be.
She could handle her business. They show that in the Clone Wars.
She can handle her biz.
She fights.
That
People
would
try
make-
to
that
take
would
her
actually
out.
make
in the
sense.
comic,
That would make sense.
So, little backstory. In the comic, when she survived, she actually goes and I don't remember what planet, but she goes and sets up a base and tries to the stuff that she was able to take some of this, I guess information from the library that she was able to take with her, tries to start building a new library, a school to preserve the information. And Palpatine actually is in a conversation with Vader, says that she is arguably the most dangerous still alive because information is bad, and
That's
the information
classic.
it's classic.
Classic Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Information that this was a thing, the Jedi were a thing, that this good past of the temple and stuff is a thing, is bad, and that we need to. She is our potential biggest threat or
Yeah.
rival because
Right.
this information's out there. We need to get her. Something like that.
I think that might be
Something like that. I didn't read
I like that.
all of it. I caught some of it.
Do we think that Luke's the ancient Jedi texts that end up with Rey, are they in that library? And if so, why not? Seems like the most important Jedi text would be in that library.
Unless,
I don't think they are.
I don't think
I
they
don't
are
think they
either,
are.
right?
Is it
'Cause
something
they're the
he
most
found?
they're the most ancient Jedi texts upon what all of the
I feel like it's
foundation of the
something he
Jedi
found,
is.
right?
I think so, but you would think that you have all these Jedi. Did no one ever look for the ancient Jedi texts until Luke? I'm not saying it's
They didn't think they needed to. They were.
I do love
they
that
were
Luke
arrogant.
is when we see Luke in both Mando season 2 and Book of Boba. It's like Luke's like, I've got all the time in the world now. I am just going to study up on the Jedi and get to the heart of it.
Yeah.
And
Did it seem like a small number of books to you?
it was not even the
just-
Harry
it
Potter
didn't seem
series
like,
of the books.
I thought that's it. That's like
That's the reason I'm getting
This
this
is
is
the ancient
Jocasta
Jedi.
Nu
That's it. I
protected
guess-
200,000 books, and Luke has 4.
and burned them. So, way to go.
Yeah.
Augusta
Although
knew
Ray,
cut
I guess
her like
Ray had already got
Ray
him out,
got
right?
him. Ray
Ray
got
got
him.
him out on the
that's-
Falcon.
Yeah, I guess it's true. But
But
still,
Yoda took shots at page turners. They were not.
page turners, they were not.
When did he read them?
Well, it seems like they both just skimmed them.
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, yeah,
read,
it was a
wait,
room.
did Yoda read them as a
he
Force
said
ghost?
like, "Oh, read them, have you?" And he's like, "Well, I
I mean,
also like the fact that
from Yoda.
this is a whole mission for Luke is to find he went to Octo
secret
just to
Jedi
find
Just to find-
to
right.
find the Jedi text, and then once he gets them, he doesn't even take the time to read them all.
right.
Well, I.
I'll get to that.
Well, there was a great show on TV that night. I got distracted.
So he's playing Deserted Island, and he picks the Jedi text as his book.
This
One
is
book,
what-
doesn't read it.
Couldn't read.
Couldn't get through it.
I mean, figure that out.
In his
Couldn't get
defense,
to
it was
it.
a bit slow. It was a bit dry. Reads a little bit.
He had too much fun
It's
petting
dense.
That's the
Too
cut.
much fun petting the porgs.
That's one of the scenes that cut out of the movie is Luke with his glasses down and the Jedi text on his lap.
The fact
Yoda
that
appears just to hit him with the cane.
the fact that the glasses have to be down is also classic. It's the old man.
His robot hand is just
This
twitching.
I love Uncle's version of sleep apnea Luke over there.
We
He's
can
just
read
snoring like
whatever you
crazy.
do. Read this first, and that's all you can see. And he's like,
His robot hand just twitching.
no, he takes it off at night. He's like, he's just handless.
He takes it, hangs off it.
Puts it on the bedside.
Oh man.
I love love it.
Yep.
Now I'm
That ain't
envisioning,
my
does
loot.
Vader pop off all of his limbs at night? His laser is a giant. It's just the body.
It's an Iron Man thing where he just sits there and they all just
Oh,
put on.
you see, Derek,
Oh,
we
man,
don't
look.
ever.
This is
go
all for
on-
Derek's
We don't
questions.
go off. We never
We are
go off
somehow
topic.
talking about Luke hanging up his hand at the end of the night.
I don't think we've ever gone on.
He's
tangents.
he's reading the Jedi text, and his glasses are down here. His spectacles are down here.
Sleep apnea mask close by, just in case.
He's got Favreau's sleep apnea
Ian
mask
Favreau.
from No Way Home. It's just
Ian
all right. We
Favreau
get
are
it. No,
just-
there's no
Did
ground. being
Favreau?
broken
Does
here.
Favreau have a
Happy Hogan.
Darth Vader replica sleep apnea mask? Because that would be spectacular.
That'd be so good.
He's got the Lego set.
Yeah.
That always makes an appearance. Thank you for the question, Derek.
Thanks,
Just
Derek.
news. I guess.
Shikasta New is what we're going with.
Snooze, am I right?
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. I think,
like it.
I think that's
Ugh.
likely.
I just can't wait for the show.
I can't wait. For
I
the
am just,
show.
I'm envisioning just the first, I don't care if it's only 30 seconds, the first actual footage we get of the show, of just seeing one. Let's make a prediction here.
No.
Do they give us any?
We're gonna start now.
Do they give us
Yeah,
any
let's start now.
Hayden in? Do they give us any Hayden in the trailer?
Yes, because it's already been confirmed. I
It's
think
been
they will.
confirmed.
I think they will because it's been confirmed. They want to hype it up as much as they can.
I think they will.
Are they
too.
going to give away as much in this trailer
Ooh.
as they did in episode 3?
Hopefully
Well, we
not.
need to watch the show.
Can we talk about that?
You are the chosen one. He will go live. We've always wanted a daughter.
Listen, the thing.
Everything.
Quick tangent.
But in fairness,
whoa.
we did know
Tangents.
the
That-
story.
that-
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
I
In
understand.
fairness, the moment they announced
Seeing
that
it is
they were
what we
doing
were
this,
excited
knew
about.
Yeah,
what we were
I
getting.
understand. We
But
all knew what was going to happen, but we didn't know
Still.
he was going to have a standoff on Mustafar
No.
against Obi-Wan. We didn't know Obi-Wan
listen,
was going to be the
I
one to fight him.
understand.
Right.
We didn't know any of that. They showed that like 4 different clips.
I
of him just
knew
fighting
that
Obi-Wan.
Jimmy McGill becomes Saul Goodman. I don't know all that happens.
They
I don't
showed
know word
everything.
for word. I
Right.
don't know the biggest
One thing led
surprises.
to another. Right.
You're the chosen one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Come watch the movie you just saw, but a lot longer.
It's the
Just
same
saw.
That's
thing,
it.
only more.
I love how they even say, "Who could have done this?" and they cut, and it's just him just mawing down at the whole Jedi Temple.
Saw holograms of him killing younglings.
Younglings.
Well, I think Anakin did it.
I
They
think
pretty
so.
much said that.
No,
Yeah.
no mystery.
You shall be known as Darth Vader. It's all of it. Yeah,
It's great.
even your, including your friend.
Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan
Kenobi.
So who's in
Kenobi.
charge of cutting those? Is that director cuts the trailer? He's got to have final say. You can't
Yeah.
make a movie and then the director go, yeah, whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know that
George.
in
He probably doesn't
particular-
cut them, but he does look at them.
Yeah,
It's probably George.
I say I know in particular JJ is really protective about what he shows or doesn't show in his
in
trailers.
his trailers.
But I
yeah.
do know that they have the marketing people that are like, we need to get this out because there also has to be enough that draws people
Yeah,
in. But
sure.
JJ, in some, I think a lot of those directors, but especially Star Wars directors,
give
are
it away.
usually pretty protective
Yeah.
of give away some themes in general, a tone of what you're gonna get, but we're not gonna show you the biggest stuff. I mean, like
Mhm.
some of the great Last Jedi trailers ended with, Rey going the whole long thing, and then there's a beat, and then it's Rey going, "I'm just looking for someone to show me my place in all this," and it cuts to Kylo showing the hand, and you're like, "Whoa, she's going to the
Right.
dark side," and
Right.
of course,
Or the
Well,
Jedi must
well,
end.
yeah,
we also
or the
saw-
Jedi. It's time
we
for
also
Jedi
saw-
to
The
end.
Jedi to end.
We
Like,
also saw
what?
Dark Ray. We saw Dark
We saw
Ray.
Dark
in the
Ray
trailer,
and
which
for
we
Rise
then-
of Skywalker.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
for
for
Rise
Rise
of
of
Skywalker,
Skywalker.
we
Right.
saw Dark Ray,
Same
and we're
kind of
like,
stuff.
oh my gosh, is this going to be?
She
and then
actually
literally
goes.
Was that was always all in the actual movie.
Mhm.
So they're specific with what they show, but I think they're protective.
We
So I
got,
wonder
but I
what
think we got to see Anakin.
I think
we'll see Anakin. I think that we'll see Anakin. I think we'll.
I think we see a red saber. I think we see that.
I think we hear the
Mm-hmm.
Do we
kind of
see
like how we heard Palpatine's laugh at the end. It's like at the end.
Do
of
we
the
think
thing,
we
at
see
the
a-
end of that trailer for Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
Do
I
we
think
think
we
we
might get
see
Vader
a young
breathing.
child of either a Luke or a Leia in the trailer, or Bale? Do you think we see
Or
Jimmy
Padme.
Smith?
No, just kidding.
I
I'm kidding.
Man, I'm just thinking of how this thing sets.
I don't.
How
I
this
don't
thing
know.
sets up. I was imagining. So I'm imagining like a movie where one of these apocalyptic movies, right?
Apocalypse Now.
Where there's
No, I'm just
someone, a child is
Yeah.
born who is the hope of the world, the
Yeah.
hope of the world, the future, and you
Yeah.
see that's the kind of Obi-Wan is in there, but that child, and then we cut to another. We see Leia as the sister, and we
Yeah.
see. I'm wondering if we don't see the side of Vader that we have never seen before, the Anakin side of Vader that they in the trailer little glimpses of that part, either mask off or something.
Yeah.
I think it might be in a novel or comics. I think it is canon now that Yoda had always thought that Leia was actually that Yoda had thought that Leia was the one
Ooh.
that would have been the best to have been trained into fight and all of this stuff,
Oh,
but that she was
man.
reluctant because of growing up in politics and so that
She
she
thought
was
she could
reluctant
do
and didn't
more.
want it, and that there was something like that he had preferred, or that he thought that she was either I don't know if its words were the chosen one, but that's
She's definitely more like
that she's
focused and resolved.
It's always the one who
Yes, that
doesn't.
she- that
it's always the one who
she's-
doesn't want a part of it that ends up
right.
like Mando doesn't want the dark saber. And now we're all thinking
Yeah,
he's
you're
gonna
in.
be the
He's
one
gonna
that
run the whole.
he's gonna
show.
run Mandalore.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, because it is always interesting too in Return of the Jedi or Empire. When he says there's another, but it really doesn't lead to the turning of it doesn't lead to the turning of Vader. Is what I was gonna say with
Well,
Leia
Why? Yeah.
in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But they
Wha-
do say it as if like just this is we have a backup
It's
plan.
not our
on
only
this.
hope.
It's not our only hope.
Why would?
It's
Okay.
a new hope, but we already knew we had Leia.
Why wouldn't we explore that in this show? Why would Obi-Wan not then be concerned with both of them?
Because who's to say them? They're both
That's exactly
children
right.
of There's
Yeah.
no reason
takes-
in this to start off thinking that Luke is more important than Leia is.
That's exactly right. He gives
Right.
Leia. They
Right.
agree to take her, and he takes
Yeah.
Luke. That's it. He's taking Luke. He's not set to stay there. He's taking Luke.
Yeah. We just
Why
kind
would
of
he not-
assume that.
This
Why
is
would he
why
not go
Obi-Wan has
check?
to check on both of them,
He has to.
and then at some point, maybe
Especially
in the show,
if Yoda
maybe
says
in the
I'm
show,
out.
it could be in the show that we get some young Leia, that we get the sense that she's that either Bale doesn't want her to be trained, or
Mhm.
that she's headed down a different path with the rebellion and that
Yeah.
type of thing, and that all right, well,
We might actually
Luke's got
see
nothing
some,
going for him over here.
Might actually get to
Man.
see some
I
cool
don't- yeah,
Alderaan.
for sure.
Seeing live action
moments.
Alderaan would be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think that in this they might explore, or
I'm
might
thinking
even
out
have
loud,
to explore,
even as we
of
talk. I'm thinking out loud, even as we're talking. Here,
checking
that,
on both of them.
that maybe he tries to get as far away from them as he can. That could be true too. To keep
Obi-Wan?
them anonymous. I've always wondered this: is it possible? Is there any reason? Is it possible that Vader knew where Luke was but didn't move? For any reason,
As in, like, he didn't want Palpatine to know or something like that.
he knew the boy was there. But Vader's plan is what's Vader's plan the whole time. The young, he's always trying to destroy this. He's always trying to destroy.
Yeah. Eventually, he's going to come to a point where he thinks, Palpatine, I'm going to overthrow you.
I've gotten
I'm
everything
gonna-
I need from him,
Yeah.
and my Padawan is going to be.
My boy.
So is it possible that Vader knew exactly where Luke was but didn't tell the Emperor, because that's not the plan. His plan the whole time is to overthrow
Father
the
and
Emperor
son.
and take him to be his. He's going to train him in the ways of the dark side. But if he goes and gets him now, he's not ready to destroy the Emperor, so he's not ready to begin that part of that phase of the plan.
Right. Like, if he can feel Padme's presence, why couldn't he feel the
I'm just
presence
wondering if that.
of Luke and Leia?
What are the problems that we would encounter from a storyline if Darth
Hmm.
Vader knows exactly where Luke Skywalker is, doesn't know where Leia is, has no idea,
'Cause-
doesn't even know there is a Leia, maybe.
Because at that moment,
knows
there's
that
no
they're
surprised
there
as
is no
twins.
reason for
Right.
him. At
Luke
that point, there's
Luke
no
revealed
reason for
that.
him
Yeah.
or anybody. Palpatine essentially would be the only one who might want to kill Luke,
Mhm.
because he'd be like, "Oh, that's a threat." But from Vader's perspective, there's no reason why, because it's not like he's a Jedi.
No.
It's
That's
not like he's like, "No, this is great."
That's my.
I want another Force user.
That's
this
the
is,
pathway.
yeah, this is
Another
great.
Skywalker. We can rule the galaxy as
Which
father
is where
and
he
son.
gets to at when he's grown up. But,
So I'm just wondering if they could explore that as a
Hmm.
possibility that Vader,
Hmm.
through an encounter with Obi-Wan, finds him there, and he's watching him.
if you think Vader
what-
is coming to Tatooine,
What problems could we have with?
Yeah.
What problems does that bring up? I just feel like it's less problematic to explain that than it is to explain the fact that he doesn't know where he is.
The only thing
That
I
to
can,
me is
yeah.
problematic.
The
I
only
don't
thing I
see
can think
that.
of is that he would if he knew that and he knew that Obi-Wan was there, he would still want to go kill Obi-Wan.
That's right. If Obi-Wan was there,
So I feel like he still has to know that he might know he exists, but would not have to know where Luke is
here's the thing.
or where Obi-Wan is
You're right.
either.
You're right. When does Vader find out about Luke? Who tells him?
Because when he
You mean
talks
the
to him,
moment with the Emperor?
Yeah,
because when he
he's right.
talks with Luke, he tells him, "Oh, so you found basically." He's like, Obi-Wan basically lied to you.
That's right. When did Vader
your
find
father,
out
so-
about that Luke was his son? When is that revealed to Vader?
Yeah, he's got the moment.
I wonder if
We
it'll
don't
be.
know if. Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't he has the moment with
I wonder.
the Emperor?
But they never actually say.
Yeah.
But doesn't he say something about the son of
There's
Anakin
another-
Sky? No,
the
the,
son- oh,
the
yeah,
son of
there's a son of
Anakin
Anakin
Skywalker. We
Skywalker.
believe this is the son of Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And what's
Yeah,
interesting
that's
though
true.
is to go to Uncle's point here.
Does he act like?
How does
What?
Vader respond too
Yeah.
when they're talking about this? He said like he could basically said he could be a great threat to us. What the Emperor is saying.
Yes.
Said he could be
And
a
he
powerful
says,
asset.
and he
Asset or
says,
something.
if he could be turned, he would be a powerful. He says
Great
like,
asset or
wow.
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, and he says yes, but the Emperor says as if like it's a new thought I've never had before. But
Mhm.
Vader had it right away of like,
That's right.
nor
Nor did he act surprised.
and then he will
Nor
join
did
us
he
or
go,
die.
Young Skywalker lives.
Yeah.
There was no moment.
Yeah.
It felt like they were talking about something that was already known.
They just hadn't talked
That
to each other
Vader-
about it.
Vader was not. It didn't feel like a surprise. Like it just didn't feel
No.
like. Although the whole underlying principle is that this is not Anakin Skywalker. This is Darth Vader. He has no emotional connection to this kid,
Yeah.
other than the fact that he's the descendant. He's the child of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
He's not Anakin Skywalker. I get that,
Yeah.
but I always
But-
thought in the back of my mind he doesn't seem surprised at this news. It feels
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if there's a
That's interesting.
possibility that he knows he's there. Obi-Wan's not there. Is there any reason why he wouldn't just go grab the child, bring him back, and raise him?
Hmm.
Would it be dangerous for Luke to bring him back with the Emperor? Would Vader think he's safer right there until I can bring my plan to fruition and then bring him in, then we can destroy them and rule together? And the moment that happens is in episode 5 when he comes to meet him and he realizes you're strong. Obi-Wan has taught you. You're strong in the Force. Now's the time. Now we can come together. But it was always kind of his plan. And the fact that he knew he was still there kept that light dark battle going. It kept him potential. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's totally maybe a crazy storyline. The easy path, simple path. They didn't know he was there. Totally hidden. He didn't find out till later. As soon as
Yeah.
he found out, they came to get him. But they knew he was on Ted. Like, right
Yeah.
when he says, "This is the son of this is Anakin." So I don't know.
I can't
Yeah.
wait
We'll
for this
see.
show.
I would
Can't
love
wait
to
for
see
the
I
that.
can't
series.
wait.
I know it's gonna be so many. I mean, what are they gonna
It's
do?
gonna be
Can do
great.
anything.
Can do anything, and then also, what's so good is that there's so many possibilities of what they could do, but we also have the guarantee of the stuff that I love, which is we know we're getting more Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Right.
We know we're getting Hayden Christensen,
Yeah.
and we know we're getting John Williams. Not throughout the whole thing. Like
Which-
he's not doing all the music, but
Right.
just give me him
Maybe
doing
my
some
favorite.
of the
Yeah.
main themes, and
We're
that's
gonna
all
get
I
a new.
need.
We'll probably get a new theme.
Yeah,
We'll get
Yeah.
something new.
they said he just recorded. They
Was it a
said-
Kenobi theme?
Kenobi, he did recording for Kenobi. They said like it was great the way the Star Wars stuff is done in Los Angeles in some studio. They said under heavy security,
Yeah.
like they don't want any leaks
Man,
on even
nobody-
his music as a spoiler because His music's insane. Just getting John Williams attached to Star Wars once again when I
Ooh.
thought that was the last
Do we
we'd ever
hear
get.
the music in the trailer? Or do we?
John Williams music?
Yeah. Do we hear that piece or part of that piece in the trailer? Or do they save it for the?
I think we do. I don't. I mean,
I think we'll get.
you
some
could
parts of John
argue that
Williams.
we've talked about this. The only stable, the only 100% guaranteed kill of all Star Wars is
Always.
the music.
Always.
You never know exactly if the characters are going to land, if
Yeah.
the story's going to hit. If
Even
we're
throughout whatever anyone's worst takes are on some of the prequel stuff.
The music.
Do we love Duel of the Fates? Yes. Do I love Across the Stars? Yes.
He's
Do I
always
love
been
Battle of
right.
Heroes? Yes. It's all
Yeah.
so good.
So to me, it's another character, and I would think that character they would want to show that
Since it's
hint,
confirmed.
Yeah.
a hint of it
Yeah.
in the trailer.
Well, it's like, how do you show off some of the stuff you have
Ooh,
without showing all
I
the
got
good?
one
Show
for
off
you.
that we got John Williams back.
Right. that's
Since
part
we're
of
on
it.
Show
the
off
trailer.
some John Williams.
I think he'll make the
'Cause that
trailer.
just
I
makes-
think his name will make the trailer.
Oh,
I think so.
that'd be crazy.
Used by John Williams.
Since we're talking about the trailer, and before we start wrapping this up here, do we think, or do you think we get any of the other stuff that has been confirmed, like Inquisitors? Do you think we see an Inquisitor in the trailer?
Oh.
Because they even showed Inquisitors in the concept art.
They showed it in the concept art. They've even announced a couple.
I think we'll
they've
get a
announced
glimpse
couple of them
of-
that are confirmed to be in it.
I think we'll get a glimpse of, just because you know how Inquisitors have the very distinct look, with like the
Yep.
head,
you can
the
tell,
heads
yeah.
and stuff
Especially
like
if
that.
it's a character we've already seen.
I
in
think we'll
another-
get. I think
think
we'll get
we
a
will.
glimpse of an Inquisitor in the trailer.
Do we get any flying helicopter flights?
That I don't think we will get.
I'm kidding. There's no.
But I'm
shot.
putting all my money on puffer
No
pigs
shot.
and space whales.
And
No, I'm
Can
just
you
kidding. Filoni
imagine
is not doing
if
this
it
one. But
cuts and it's Obi-Wan fighting Inquisitor just takes off spinning.
oh man.
You know how much hate they'd get. There's no shot.
hey, if they pull it off, if they make it look cool.
There's no shot.
If
Yeah, I don't know if they can do
I
it.
don't know.
But
Blast.
man.
Someone's.
Blast,
I
this
hate
is what-
flying.
this is why
I hate flying.
flying. This is on a lightsaber.
This is why I hate
Mary
flying.
Poppins is Mary Poppins on a lightsaber. Blast is why I hate flying.
This is why I hate flying.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Just thought of a great thing. The mine. I don't know why I thought of this.
Great.
Like a panther, ride for the very first time.
Is this our
Like
wrap up
a
music?
panther.
Is this our wrap up music?
I think that part of we need a segment of our show.
John Williams, eat my dust. I got like a panther.
we need part of this is a new segment we're gonna have on our show each week near the end. At the end of we're just adding the lyrics to all Star Wars. Like a panther, like a panther, like a panther, like a panther.
Oh my god.
Segment at the end of each of our shows is throughout the entire show. We're gonna know that Uncle has secretly been cooking up a new Star Wars song, and at the very end we always go, "Hit it, Max."
What do you got?
Hit it, Max, and Uncle just plays.
Hit it, Max.
Uncle plays the song of the week. I love it.
We could do it.
could do it. I think we
they're
could
in
do
there.
it.
Oh man.
Ray, Ray, Ray. This is Ray's theme. I mean, they're all,
This is just
I
like the
I
Boba
hope
Fett
that they
concept.
actually even say the
and
word
add-
theme in the theme song. This is Ray's theme. Ray's theme. Ray's theme. Ray's theme. Do-da-dun, dun-dun-dun. Ray's theme. This is Ray's
at my house they call me the song ruiner because I take something that we know is familiar and then I add something different and now you can't ever unhear it.
I love it.
So now when you hear dun dun, your brain's gonna go Ray's theme. It's ruined forever.
It's ruined.
Well, it's
No,
the
it's not ruined. You can't ruin that one.
it's
Star
the
Wars guys.
it reminds me of the classic I don't know if you've ever seen even a single episode, Uncle, of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I haven't. No.
One of the early
man.
seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, they reference, and that show's been on now like 15 years, but they reference, they were talking about like, oh yeah, this is what always happens in like those, like, oh yeah, this is what happens in like those 80s movies, and then it usually ends up with like the hero walks off into the distance and they play Day Bow Bow, and one of the other characters goes, what the heck is Day Bow Bow? And they go, you know that song from Ferris Bueller, Day Bow Bow, And then they go, oh, day bow bow. Oh, yeah. And then, but that's they're like, oh, they play day bow bow. But this reminds me of that of just like, I don't know what they actually say, but it sounds like day bow bow. So now when you're adding lyrics to it, I'm like, that reminds me of day bow bow. Hilarious. Although now I'm just gonna go fat. Fat. Our clip that we posted online of us going bo 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 fat. Bo 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 bo, and the cut, Nate's camera cut of each of us going bo 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 bo,
and then the actual real thing coming.
Oh man,
did we miss any predictions?
I think we got the whole show done.
I think we've told everyone.
Yeah,
we've told everyone what will happen, and we said we got 6. We spent the whole 6 hours.
Is it too late to submit
6
my
hours? Is our
script
6 hours
to
of show?
Deborah Chow? Is it too late to submit my script?
I put mine in. Mine went.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't submitted your script yet?
Jar Jar Binks. That's my new show.
Ooh.
Jar Jar Binks show?
It's a spin-off show where Jar Jar Binks is actually
Jar Jar Binks.
He's a waiter.
He's a waiter
in a restaurant.
Missa wants a cup of jar with
That's right, and
he works at Dex's Diner.
He's undercover. He's a waiter, former senator.
I want to see a underworld Jar Jar turned bounty hunter in this.
Oh man, who's that deep doo-doo, Jar Jar?
Jar Jar, jump, Jar Jar. Be gone with him.
Oh my gosh! All right, that's great.
Peace. Holding up the orb. I love it.
Oh my goodness. Hey, as always, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Long one, but fun one. We're diving into Obi-Wan Kenobi with it coming up. It's coming up in a couple months, so looking forward to it. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what your predictions are for the show, what you'd like to see, what you think might be super far-fetched but could happen, and then what maybe you might think is most likely to happen. I know we mentioned Qui-Gon Jinn thrown in there and some Force Ghost training. So let us know your thoughts. Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. And as always, may the Force be with you.
You were banished because you were clumsy.
You might be saying that. Annie?
Annie. Little Annie.
It is
you, Annie.